Welcome to If These Balls Could Talk, where each of us brings forth 5 topics to discuss. I'm Mark, and of course, as with us always is John and Pete, and joining us is our special guest, Natalie Burnett. Welcome to the podcast, Nat.
Hey, guys.
After some technical difficulties, we got her on. All right,
we're here.
We did
we're
it.
here, and
I have my
live.
tech support shirt on, so
I
I'm
know.
ready.
So apropos.
Amazing.
How's
So
everyone
apropos.
been?
Good
How's
work.
everyone been?
Good work.
John, let's start with you.
That's a good word, Mark.
I love that word.
Did you learn that word in college?
I don't know where I learned that word. It might have been actually a crossword thing.
So
Anyway.
it's COVID day 8, and I still haven't slept in my bed. But
How are you feeling?
I feel great. I'm better, but we're going to day 10 because I tested positive on Monday.
Oof, that's rough.
And don't want to give the ladies COVID for the weekend, so that would suck. And so
No, we do not want to do that.
At least I have a brand new couch, and my couch is comfortable.
Ooh.
So that's cool. That's cool. I'm not a crazy person. I don't mind that at all.
Pete, how are you?
Doing all right. Got
How's the wife and baby watch 2023 going?
she's doing
Baby
well.
Watch 2023.
Thankfully, not quite as nauseous as she's been. So things are hopefully turning towards the better on that end. And what do we do this weekend?
Congratulations on finishing
Thanks.
Ted Lasso, by the way.
Oh yeah. There's a sign that she's
Huzzah.
doing better, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mark and I had a good talk about Ted Lasso and some little tidbit at the end.
God,
So
jeez, that show was good this
it was
season.
really good.
Mhm. So this
You watch
season
Ted
was so
Lasso now?
good.
That's
I
like, I
had-
don't know. I
Lasso.
watch TV sometimes.
It's a really good show. It's definitely worth checking out. All right.
All right. Let's say we get to know our friend Nat, shall we? So let's start with the reason we're all clearly here. You are the co-host of one of our favorite 90s theme movie review podcasts. Tell us what it's like to start an internet brand, getting to do it with your best friend, hey Katie, and trying to keep it fresh every week.
Well, really, we're not really creating a brand. We're kind of at the moment where we're just doing it for ourselves, and we just replaced our Thursday night Zoom call with a podcast.
Ooh.
That's it. I mean,
That's
that's really
the most Katie thing ever. Katie's
That's
like,
the most Katie
we
thing.
should just record it and put it on the internet.
Fantastic.
Basically it.
I'm waiting for her to have a reality show. I really am. I would watch that.
so
The
would I.
Katie show. I think you've been watching that for the last 30 years, though, right, Nat?
Absolutely, a little more than 30 years. Yeah. We'll say 30. I like that. That's good. 30 years.
Amazing.
But yeah, we've just been doing it. We'll just pick a movie at random from the 80s or 90s. Sometimes we hit the 70s. I feel like we might hit the 30s or 40s at some point.
Ooh.
And maybe one day we'll get closer to today, but probably
I'm
not.
incredibly excited for Usual Suspects tomorrow. I
Yes,
will be watching because that's one of my favorite movies ever.
it did coincide with some really bad news this week about Rapey Spacey, and
Ray
I just
Spacey.
More
Sorry,
bad news about
again?
that?
Wait, he's back in the news? I thought he was
Yeah, I haven't heard
officially
anything new.
canceled.
oh well, I mean he should be in jail, and that just
never
keeps
mind
coming
that.
up, and new people for reasons he should be in jail keep coming up. Like this week, that was in the
I've got to
headlines.
remember
So
that hashtag,
Oh.
Rapey Spacey.
that just came out. Sorry, but accurate.
No, it's
Totally
fine. I felt so betrayed by him. He was one of my favorite actors, and I heard all that. I'm like, what the hell?
It's so disappointing.
Ugh, yeah, I
Like
know.
So disappointing.
don't do bad
You-
things, people.
yeah.
He
come
still
on.
thinks he's going to get work, which he
No.
isn't. Nobody can hire Kevin Spacey for anything.
No.
No. I mean, they had a hard enough time rebooting John Travolta after that whole Scientology movie, so
Oh yeah.
Well, it's 100%
they
less
can
rapey,
barely
too.
recover that. I don't think they could recover Kevin Spacey.
Right.
Oof, that Scientology movie was also very bad.
I don't even remember it. I think I just blanked it from my brain.
That's good.
It's good.
Battlefield
Okay.
Earth.
I'll keep it
Ba-
blanked.
John Travolta in dreadlocks. That's all you need
Yep.
to know.
Yep. He was totally
So-
believable. Just imagine that, right? You're just this scientist, astrologist, and you're like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna start a religion.
Actually, he was a science fiction writer.
Yeah, science fiction writer, exactly.
Just a science fiction writer, and it was just a science fiction book, but he decided to market it as a religion, and it surprisingly took, and he just ran with that and made it into a cult.
Do a cult for
Yeah.
celebrities.
I feel like we often talk about Save Britney. I'm like, should we check on Tom Cruise? Like, is he
He's
okay?
fine.
I
Are
don't know
you
if he
sure?
wants to be
He got-
saved.
He's like a billionaire and he can fly or drive anything.
He got
that
pretty
wants.
deep
He's
into
fine.
it too, didn't he?
He got brought into the cult when he was extremely young,
Very young.
Mm.
by an
I think-
older woman.
Ooh.
I
Did
don't
Katie
know.
Holmes escape?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, Katie
I
made
think-
it out. I think.
I think Nicole
Katie made it out?
Kidman almost got converted, and then she was out, and I don't know.
Yeah, Katie Holmes also got out.
Tom Cruise
Apparently-
is
You're
fine
allowed
now.
to get out.
Celebrity level, and then there's like the real thing. So it's like it seems like it's likely that Tom Cruise is gaslit a lot about it, but yeah, cults. There are so
Fun
many.
times.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look where we're going with this.
I know. It's funny how we start talking about movies and we end up in Scientology. That's the
On
show,
the
right?
podcast,
Yes.
Katie and I were talking about 10 Things I Hate About You, and when I did a little research
Good
about
movie.
like where are the actors now, did you know that Andrew Keegan just disbanded his cult? Because he
Huh.
was a cult leader. I don't know. All these 90s people have cults.
It's-
Oh, yeah, like Allison
comes
Mack
up.
too, right?
oh
Ledger was
yeah.
in that
Oh my
movie too,
gosh,
right?
yeah.
Yes, Heath Ledger was in 10 Things I Hate About You.
Right. Oh yeah.
We know where
was.
he is. Oh,
Well, yeah.
Sad panda.
Sad panda. Wait for it. Wait.
Come on, be faster.
Are you in a womp womp womp?
I didn't have the soundboard up.
Yeah, there it is.
Aw. Did you know we have a
We love
soundboard now?
Oh, he was amazing.
Yes, Heath was
He
great.
was amazing.
Yeah.
All right.
So I think we can move on.
Yeah.
Yes. Happier things.
Yes, let's talk about happier things. Oh, wait, we're not going to, though.
Oh no.
Oh, wait, I didn't read the whole question. Go ahead, Pete.
Hold on, I don't have the question up.
Pete.
Because I was too engrossed in trying to get everything up and running this time.
Pete, I bet you did a great job. I wasn't listening. So now what's going on? How's life?
Me? I'm
Yeah.
rocking the long COVID. It's brutal.
Oof.
Oh,
Brutal
no.
COVID
Really?
for real. So
All that care,
I'm
and
fine.
you got long COVID the one time you left your house.
oh
huh?
yeah.
Oh,
It takes
I'm
one
so
person that you really
I'm so
trust to lie
sorry,
to you.
dear. That sucks.
Yeah.
No, it was just allergies. I tested. It was just allergies. And it's like, actually, find out 2 days later, I didn't test and it's COVID. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm in the
Ooh,
hospital.
and now I have it.
Oh.
Aw.
Well, that's actually a
I'm
perfect.
alive, though, so I'm winning.
Hey,
Rock
I
and
mean,
roll,
that's
get it.
right.
Yeah.
Better than being dead.
Autoimmune disease says, screw you to COVID. I'm just too stubborn to kick it.
Oh man. Well, let's hope that you make a full recovery soon. And that actually is a great segue into this next question. So while you've unfortunately been stuck in Canada for quite a while, you know, with the pandemic for, you know, a long time.
Yeah.
We know, aside from that, you're a pretty accomplished traveler. Steph and I have tons of memories running through airports, getting into cabs in other countries, not knowing the language, and many other adventures. What is your favorite travel story, and where is the coolest place you've ever been?
So that's a good question. Favorite travel story? I was going to Australia with my brother. So we had this crazy cheap flight, but it took us a couple of stops through the US to get to the other side of the world. It was like a 28-hour flight, like trip.
Wow, that's a long trip.
So we went from Montreal to Detroit. Montreal to Chicago. Hate that. We almost had to have like an emergency plane come and refuel us because we couldn't land because it was too windy. So
Oh my
another
gosh.
city was going to send an airplane to refuel us because we circled in the air for 2 hours.
Oh my god.
Crazy.
Over Chicago, like literally
Over
like 3
Chicago,
hours
yeah.
away from
Wow.
3
Why
hours
is
away
there
from
an
your
airport
house.
here?
So if the trip wasn't long enough, then you have wind.
Yeah, we finally made it through there. We got all of our connecting flights. Now we're like 26, 27 hours into this trip. We ended up landing in Auckland, New Zealand, because we had to change planes to get to Australia. So my brother and I are like sleep deprived, stressed out. We're in the airport. We have to go through security. So we're shoveling all of our little snacks and chugging our mini bottles of water, stripping off our belts, our shoes, our socks, and everything, putting it all in the bins.
Mm-hmm.
And these giant Maori guys are just standing there laughing at us, like the security guards. And I'm like, what? I'm like, oh my God, we're going to get arrested for something. I have no idea what. They're like, did you guys just fly through America? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, well, in New Zealand, we have a shoes on policy and you could keep your snacks.
Ah.
It's like the amount of security checks you have to go through the US, even though you're already in security, is unique to really the US.
Oh yeah, and it's only been that way since 9/11 when you think about it. Like,
Yeah.
if you ever taken a flight before that, it was as lax as any other country.
As a Canadian, I didn't need a passport to go to the US before 9/11.
Yeah.
So
Used to come a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, growing up in Buffalo, we'd cross the border all the time. Like,
Vice versa. We didn't
more
need
to
the
Toronto, but
passport.
like Ontario was like across the river, right?
I remember the first time we brought, the first time that I was responsible for bringing pledges across the border into Montreal, and the Mountie was like, "No," he was like, "So what are you folks going to be doing?" I'm like, "Well, we're going to go drink."
Is that your best Canadian impersonation?
It was okay.
hey, if I have to do a Canadian impersonation, I just pull my best Fargo accent, and I know that's in
That's
Minnesota.
what I was going for.
But that's I could do.
But I mean,
Yeah,
that's
It's the
probably
stereotype, right?
that's probably
Yeah, of
like
course.
Calgary, Edmonton, like all those central Canadian cities.
It's actually really that the accent that people think we have, which I know I have an accent, but the accent that people think we have is really from like a small border town in southern Ontario.
Yeah,
And I mean, your accent is Scottish, so.
So in Montreal, we're very multicultural, and when we speak English, we tend to enunciate our words a lot. So also,
good, 'cause
depending on where
Americans
I'm
don't.
traveling in the US, I get asked if I'm British all the time. They're like, "Are you from London?" I'm like,
I
"No."
No.
I could hear that.
can definitely hear some of that, like,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
It's enunciation.
but you enunciate
it's
better
a-
than we do,
Enunciation.
so there's that.
Yeah, it's our like regional sort of little
It's all right.
accent instead of e-accent. See that e-accent? That's Ontario.
Oh yeah.
Well,
No,
Pete knows about that.
Trust me, I knew a lot of. Actually, there are a lot of Buffalonians even that like have a slight hint of that accent. It's
How do you say that? Ontarioian?
I don't know, just
Ontario.
Ontario person. I don't know.
Ontario?
A person from
Ontario.
Ontarian.
Canadian.
Ontarionian.
Someone from
Canadian.
Ontario?
And is there a hatred for? Okay, so last time I was in Ontario, they told a lot of Quebec jokes at your guys' expense.
Yeah, yeah,
Is there a vice versa hatred between Ontario and Quebec?
Not really. We just hate Toronto, but the whole country hates Toronto.
Yeah, Toronto seems like the antithesis of the country almost.
Yeah, I mean,
a
like
lot of
everybody
ways.
else can find like common ground, but no, nobody likes Toronto. The only people that like the Leafs are like Japanese businessmen or
Hmm.
NHL Leafs.
Yep.
I'm assuming you guys know.
Yep.
Yeah, we know what you're
To be
talking about.
specific on our
You
topic.
can say the Leafs.
Oh
It's
yeah, no,
cool.
they're arch rivals of my Buffalo Sabres, going back decades.
Are they?
Well,
Original six. Yeah.
okay, the Leafs probably don't care, but the Sabres do.
Pete, did you notice at Colin's party
But
that
nobody
there was a
cares
woman
about
wearing a
Leafs.
Stars hat,
Sure.
and that is the Stars goalie's mom? Apparently, found that out later. I was like, oh,
Wow.
okay, cool. That was interesting.
Yeah. Oh, and to round off your question, the most beautiful place I've been Pete, is in Greece, just outside of Athens, the Temple of Poseidon. I think it's
Ooh.
in Suion.
Okay.
I definitely got the pronunciation wrong on that, but it's gorgeous. It's literally the most beautiful place I've been in the world.
I don't think we were.
So-
That's awesome. Yeah, Greece is gorgeous. I agree. We were in Athens. I don't know if we made it to the Temple of Poseidon. We went there.
It's about
Did
like
you-
maybe 40
Cut-
minutes,
Hmm.
20 to 40 minutes outside of Athens. I can't remember because it's been a while.
Huh.
Pete, did you go to any temples?
Yes. Hey, Steph. She's right here. Did we go to the Temple of Poseidon in Greece?
Did you really
she,
do that?
She said she doesn't
You
know.
really just did that.
I just broke the fourth wall.
Hey guys, the
everybody.
show's live. No stress. It's all good.
Yes, we did. Actually, I have a picture of me standing there with a new pair of Nikes in front of the Temple of Nike, and so does Steph. Yeah, we each did
the
that.
Temple of Nike.
Yeah.
Actually, when I was in Greece, the Temple of Nike was out for repairs.
Oh, it's back now.
Yeah, they literally
must have
like,
moved it
took
back.
the whole thing and sent it off to England.
That's hilarious.
So that the people at the British Museum could like do repairs on it, and then they brought it back in pieces and reassembled it.
That would explain why that one looked really shiny and new, and all the other ones looked, appropriately like 2,500 years old. I was like, we were up in the Acropolis. I was like, why does that temple look so freaking good? Damn, they built that one well.
Yeah, they actually do some upkeep. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're rebuilding the Parthenon right now.
Because it has to move on,
Sure.
and for it to move on, you have to keep it up.
They're slowly rebuilding the Parthenon using the same marble from the same quarry that they built it originally.
That's cool. Really cool.
I thought that was cool, but it's going to take them
the
like
Temple
50
of
years at
Zeus
this point.
in Athens is like somewhere around 3,000 to 8,000 years old. So it needs a little upkeep.
There's like 3 pillars left of it. There's not much left, I think.
I remember standing at the foot of it and looking up, and I'm feeling like not even an inch big. I'm like, I am an insignificant speck in the timeline.
It's insane.
It's incredible.
Yeah, the history there, you can feel it.
Well, the perspective of that is amazing. And to use that, I did want to take a moment to welcome Nat as our first international guest. Welcome.
Oh, yeah.
As being one of the coolest people, and as being one of the coolest people we know, I want to take some time on the show to talk about your Canadian and Ukrainian roots, which we already have mentioned. What's it like being a citizen of the world and being from 2 very different parts of it, or more? How many languages do you know?
I know about 3, and then some colorful words in other languages. That comes with traveling. So my dad's family was from Scotland. They immigrated to Canada after the First World War. / maybe my grandfather stowed away on a ship and sent money home to get his family over. And my mom's family was from Ukraine, and they immigrated or were shipped to Canada after the Second World War when everything broke up in Eastern Europe. It's really cool because in Canada we have this immense privilege of like keeping our cultures and knowing our ancestral roots and experiencing them and expressing them without, like, we don't have to shift, we don't have to change, we don't have to... I'm saying that, and I'm like, well, in Quebec now, except we're losing our rights as even Canadians. That's a whole political story that we won't need to get into. But no, overall in Canada, like, we consider ourselves all immigrants for the most part. Like, I'm 3rd-generation immigrant is what I say, instead of 2nd-generation Canadian. So we kind of have that mentality that we're all from somewhere else, and we're here, and we're really lucky to be here, and we have this space that we can share with the people from here, and we're really working on that. And we get to see all these different cultures, these different language, different religions. It's like super normal and easy to hear. Like, you hop on the city bus, you'll hear almost any language from around the world. So
that's
so
fun.
Cool.
Nice. That's
cool.
Yeah, we're very, very, very lucky.
Yeah.
We get a similar thing.
Pop down and see you guys all the time.
Yeah.
We get a similar thing, at least here. I always felt that Jamie had a good melting pot mix because she started in a kind of an inner city public school, and so she like doesn't really notice difference, which is what we want, right? And I think that's really important, and it's really important to teach it young, and to not be surprised by difference, and so that sounds like a really great. It sounds like what the U.S. tries to do and fails at.
I was gonna say, isn't that supposed to be the premise of the U.S. and it failed?
Like, the U.S. has always had what is called the melting pot method, and Canada always had the mosaic method.
Oh, so it's
like we kept like the different tiles of people, and you guys were like, no, you're here, and it's the American dream and all of that. It's a big selling
point. That makes sense.
I gotcha,
so like, different but the same versus different but next to each other.
Right. It's kind of like
I find there's a huge cultural difference between Canada and the U.S. Like, especially since I'm down there pretty often, but a lot of people wouldn't, and especially when I travel, it's like automatically they're like, "Oh, you're a Yank," and I'm like, "Okay, first of all, in America, not everybody's a Yank." Okay, but I'm educating people about my neighbors.
That's the truth facts. That is the truth fact.
Wait for it.
That is a truth fact.
It's a true fact. Not every Yank. Oh dear, but yeah, you get called that when you travel a lot, so. We used to wear Canadian patches to differentiate ourselves, but now Americans do that all the time too. So thanks, guys.
Yeah.
We do?
Do we wear Canadian patches because we're not proud of being Americans anymore? Because I could see that.
It's happened. I actually I was in Australia. We were off the coast of Airlie Beach on a boat cruise. It was a 3-day boat cruise, and there's this one guy. So there's most of the tourists were either from England or from Germany, and then there's a bunch of Canadians. And there's this one guy, and everybody's like, he's Canadian? And I was like, come here, kid. Sit down, have a chat with him. 3 seconds later, I'm like, so you're from Florida? And he's like, yeah, no, don't tell anybody that. I'm like, okay, yeah, well.
Come sit down with me, Nat.
That's funny.
Yeah, but from what I understand, even Americans are embarrassed by Florida, so.
Yeah, that's a truth fact.
Especially lately, it's
Everyone
getting
is
worse.
embarrassed by Florida.
Yeah.
You ever hear of Florida Man, Nat?
I was going to say the same
I've never
thing.
been to Florida.
So there's something called Florida Man, where essentially if you hear something that's pretty stupid that in the news, it usually happens in Florida.
But it's...
Well, more specifically, you can Google Florida Man.
Yep.
And any day of the year.
There's a news article.
Get a ridiculous headline of the lines of like, Florida Man has fight on freeway with alligator.
Right.
My favorite game is you put in your birthday in Florida and see what comes up.
Yes,
probably
exactly.
It's pretty good.
Probably a good collection of Florida Man stories too, or Florida woman stories.
Yeah,
either
for
way.
sure.
It's listeners, we
entertaining.
Yes, Florida listeners, we salute your creativity.
Florida listeners, we salute
and insanity.
So I feel like Florida is
real men of genius.
They're being there's an international travel advisory against going to the U.S. at the moment.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, and I think it's in great. Well, I mean, it's a great many things, but Florida really got that ball rolling. So
it's unfortunate.
There's a lot of travel advisories in Florida right now, and it's mostly about what we were saying.
Yeah.
Don't travel to Florida if you're that different.
Yeah, there's some
That's
scary.
it. I've even heard it's internal. Like, don't go to Florida. Internally, they're saying that.
Yeah. No, there are definitely travel advisories within the states, between certain states.
That's
Seriously?
crazy.
It's getting scary.
If it looks like DeSantis is going to win the presidency in 24, we're all moving into your cabin.
Yeah, I heard Canada's nice. Norway looks beautiful. Yeah. Pick a random Nordic
I
country.
don't recommend
No.
at the moment, but
right. Canada's on fire, so
but
maybe
Canada overall, I'm like, yeah, you can pretty much land anywhere. You'll be okay.
Right
now,
unless
Quebec's
it's on
not
fire.
accepting any immigrants unless they're from France.
Interesting.
It's so embarrassing.
I've heard.
I think on
It's just
that.
the politicians. It's not the people that live
I
here.
know.
It's like you can go anywhere in Quebec and people will always try to speak English or French and try to be understood. And
Yeah.
especially the younger generation, they're like, yeah, we're done with these language politics because we want a job.
Right. Whatever we can communicate and understand each other in, I would imagine, right?
Yeah, it's even with the whole like wildfires that are happening now. Our provincial leader, our premier, said like, oh, we only want people to come and help from French countries. So the EU ended up sending like sort of the head of forest fires for the EU and brought over a whole bunch of forest fighters, thank God. And she's like, look, firefighters speak one language and it's fire. They can communicate. Don't worry about it. She's like, you can go sit down with your language issues. Nobody cares. The country's on fire. And
Right.
it's like,
Did you guys see the team that came in from Africa and they were dancing in the airport? There was a number of neat internet videos on it. A whole team of forest fire fighters that flew in.
That's
oh,
cool.
yes, that was beautiful.
That was
I actually
beautiful.
cried
Oh.
when
You
I
did?
saw the video. Yeah, I'm a squish. I cry at everything. Happy, sad, whatever. Winning
People
a game.
coming to save. Yay.
It's all good. Whoop.
All right.
All right.
Move on, Mark.
I think we got to move on.
Yes,
as much as we want to ramble on about everything, because that's where we would probably go with this show. We do have some 10 topics that we want to discuss. So
Yes, let's do it.
Let's say we get started. So now almost halfway through the Major League Baseball season, and the small market teams are dominating the league this year. As of today, the Tampa Bay Rays and Baltimore Orioles have the best records in the AL. and they are in the bottom 3 for team salary, believe it or not. Wow. Also performing really well, the NL Central leading Cincinnati Reds, NL West leading Arizona Cardinals, and the Derek Jeter-less Miami Marlins. You're welcome, John. Who currently sit as the second wildcard team in the NL. Meanwhile, the New York Mets, Philadelphia Phillies, and San Diego Padres, of which all have payrolls over $200 million, are currently out of the playoffs if the season ends today. And then we know about the Yankees and the Red Sox, which we won't talk about. So, everyone, will the emergence of small market teams revitalize scouting and slow down big contracts?
No, not at all.
I know,
I mean,
next topic.
I would hope so, but
Not at all. I mean, it's good to think that the Orioles and like just the Rays, for examples, will keep it up, and they are sort of, but I don't think the Orioles model is sustainable. And we know that
they need to win a World Series.
And we know
at
that the
one.
Rays model isn't sustainable because they haven't sustained it for 10 years. I mean,
well, they've put out a competitive team, but they haven't won a World Series.
Yeah, and it's because everyone in Florida, we're talking about Florida, everyone in Florida is from New York, and nobody cares about the stupid Devil Rays. I mean,
well, from what I understand too, like people don't go to Rays games because it's really hard to get in and out. They did build I guess an on-ramp very recently to make it a little easier, but I don't think attendance is up that much.
That's the reason, Mark.
They do need a new field too.
That it's hard to get there.
Yes, I mean, hell,
I think that's a terrible reason not to go to.
I work from home, and it's very hard for me to leave home sometimes.
facts.
Truth facts.
I was thinking if it did open up to more scouting, that would give more people that might have talent and less money a chance, like for young players coming up. Because now you have like sports schools and like in clubs where it's like you go to a sports school and then you do like your extracurricular activities outside of school are all sports related because you're part of a club with training and coaches and it's so expensive that there's basically the only people that are coming up now are people that started off with money.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like you're just missing out on a huge talent pool if there's not scouting like there used to be where you're going to watch like high school games like in all neighborhoods, you know, or going to small towns and like I see that a lot in Montreal.
About baseball, Nat, is that we get a lot of South American players from baseball.
Scouts are going all over the world.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I'm thinking more like in our own backyard, so to speak. But they do travel a lot.
And you get a lot of players that like baseball's the only thing they do. Like the only thing. And it's because, right, they all play baseball. There's a possibility of making a lot of money. And so, I mean, already sort of what you're saying is happening, which is great. I think that the day of the full-time scout is changing because of technology. I mean,
analytics.
You can analytics. Well, you can
send in a tape, have a Zoom meeting.
You can scout anyone, anywhere, whenever. Right? You can have the right guy, watch the right player, play the right game. You know, and I think that's really cool. I don't know if I would say that like the Yankees or the Red Sox or the Mets aren't winning because they are bad teams, though. I mean, I think those teams aren't winning because big market teams have a tendency to buy old players, like old established players,
and overspend on those
on them, like Carlos Rodon, who hasn't pitched a major league game yet at $160 million. He had his first rehab start today. Rehab starts, you have to do 4 rehab starts before you get back in a major league rotation. Okay. So we are now 3 months in. He has not. This is the first game he's pitched, and it was for a Double-A team, and he has to do 3 more before he even plays. One game. So that's another month. And so, I think the need to win right now is throwing all those big market teams off.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of money. Like
it's a lot of money.
Solve world hunger with like
oh my god,
probably what like 1 or 2 team salaries.
Is a baseball player really worth $30 million a year?
It seems like an exorbitant amount of money.
It's entertainment, right? It's an America's pastime. It's not. I enjoy it. You want to feel a little. You want to feel a little like almost want to throw up. So the Mets' team salary, pretty much after opening day, the beginning of April, $353 million.
Oh,
dear God!
Damn.
Seriously, and the Yankees, while it's also very large, it's only about $75 million less. Uncle Steve, what are you doing?
Oh, Uncle Steve.
That's so much money, guys.
Yeah.
So much money. I don't know if I'll ever see that much money in my whole life.
Of course not.
Well, I mean,
No,
you're gonna
that's-
be a real estate mogul. We already talked about that.
I got to sell a lot of
I'm
houses to
hoping
get 353
that
million.
Case
Yes.
ends up being a left-handed pitcher. Fingers are still crossed on Kieran being a left-handed pitcher.
I mean, we could probably teach
Hey, I
him,
mean,
right?
Oh, we could so teach him. We could so
Yeah.
teach him.
Just tie his right
More
hand
into,
behind his
like,
back all the
football and
time.
soccer than he is baseball. They haven't really got him into baseball. I'm like, you guys.
That's where the money's at,
Missed
right?
opportunity.
Well, they really wanted to get him into hockey. I mean, come on.
Of course.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if. Oh my God. Why can't I? Scarlett is also like learning how to play hockey. I forgot what their
I think
daughter's
she'd
name
be
was.
like an
Probably.
MMA fighter more than a hockey player, but
She's scrappy.
I could see that. Apparently she has purple hair
scrappy
now
and
too.
clever.
Yeah, she has purple hair as a
She has purple
yesterday.
hair now, so she can rock that while fighting.
Very exciting.
So I have a question about
So I think we.
real quick about the MLB and going
Sure.
back to like, players coming in. Is there a draft? I mean, I'm sure there's a draft, but
Yes.
are there like rookie contract
Yes.
money caps so that similar to the NFL?
money caps?
Yes. So
No
where
caps.
whereas
No
like,
caps.
the number one overall pick can
No
only make
caps.
this much money for their initial 4-year contract. Okay,
But
there's none of that.
most rookie contracts, like especially compared to NFL rookie contracts, are so small. Like and they're usually just about all of them are developmental. So they're usually going to be signed for like 5-6 years, but it's for like peanuts because you have to go through the minor leagues first.
Oh, that's
you
true.
don't.
It's
You
more,
don't get
more like hockey
drafted
and
in a
basketball where they're
baseball
drafted
team
young.
and play right away. There's nobody
Yep.
who ever. does
Nobody
that.
nobody plays directly into the major leagues.
Gotcha.
No. And so, as an example, we've talked about him on the show. Pete Anthony Volpe is
Yep.
now starting
Volpe.
for the Yankees, but he was probably a top 10 prospect. I think he was drafted 3rd or 4th, and he's been in the minor leagues for 5 years, and
that's
he's
a long
literally
time.
just started to play.
That's like
so he's
NHL
making-
goalies.
Yeah, he's making peanuts, but he's on the Yankees, right? And he's best friends with Aaron Judge, so it's all good.
It's a good connection to have.
That's right. That's right. And so to talk about, we're going to move on. Does anybody have a next topic? We don't need to have a next topic, but we can just move on.
That was
So anyway,
nice.
to talk about
It is time for the
overpaid.
next topic, okay?
Oh, okay. To talk about overpaid jerks, football legend Lionel Messi looks to be planning to make his MLS debut in July on the 21st.
I almost talked about this.
Inter Miami CF owner Jorge Mas told reporters Monday. Messi, 35, said earlier this month he intends to sign for Miami, leaving Paris Saint-Germain, although this deal remains to be finalized. The Miami Herald reported that Messi's contract is worth between $50 and $60 million a year and will include a salary, bonus, and equity in the club once he retires. Messi turned down offers from Barcelona and Saudi Arabia to join Inter Miami. Mas said he believes Messi will help the MLS become one of the world's leading leagues. And so what are our thoughts on this? A desperate attempt from an aging footballer, or maybe something more?
It's not new
No,
in
it's definitely
in
not
our
new.
league, in the
It's
North
definitely not
American
new.
League. In Montreal, a couple years ago, we had Didier Drogba, who was like huge on Chelsea. He came from Chelsea. He played for La Côte d'Ivoire or the Ivory Coast. Sorry, translation. Brain fog. So
Sorry,
he came and
I forgot Katie's
had
daughter's
heard when he
name.
was-
So
when he was in Chelsea, he had, I thought, like what people thought was like sort of a career near-ending injury, and then it's like, okay, so now he's playing here at the Montreal Impact in our league, and he was great here as a superstar. But it's not like watching a game in Europe or in the UK,
No.
our league. But I feel like bringing in these players gives us a chance to get sort of more fandoms going and more viewership going and more people going to games and more interested. So it's going to bring people in, and it's also bringing in a skill set and a knowledge, right?
and that's what the
Yeah.
hope is for, especially
Yeah.
in North America, including Canada and United States. And,
Yeah,
and you're
it's both of us.
You're absolutely right, Nat. This has happened before, especially so in the MLS specifically. It's happened with David Beckham, and it's
Oh,
happened
sure.
with
Yep.
Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I don't know if I got that last name right. I know his first name is definitely Zlatan.
Well, I mean, the same
Wayne
thing, though,
Rooney
with
too.
With Beckham, that was a dying gasp. I mean, 35 feels old. 35 feels old for any professional
Especially in-
sports,
in
and
soccer,
especially
football,
footballers.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Now, the thing about Messi, which I thought was really interesting, is Messi has really he hit the pinnacle of his career, right? And
Argentina winning the World Cup. Yep.
Argentina winning the World Cup, and so he's at a point, like an inflection point, where he was already he was the highest paid, well, the second highest, right? But he was the second highest paid footballer. But he reached an inflection point where he can make a lot of money, or he could do something really notable, and he's playing for Miami.
Yeah.
I mean, it just seems really dumb.
Well, I think he also got an offer from a Saudi Arabian team or Saudi Arabia backed league or
and he
whatever
turned
like that.
that
That was
down.
for more money.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not the highest offer. He wants to play in the U.S. He wants to maybe
Nice little retirement/immigration package.
immigration
true.
package. Exactly. I mean, there's something else going on, right?
But Messi is on the level. Messi is arguably one of the top players in the world with Cristiano Ronaldo. Is they're the two biggest names. Well, yeah, and Mbappe too.
They're like two of the Euro names that I actually know.
But this is in line with what happened in the 70s when Pelé came over and played in the Americas. Now MLS wasn't around back then, but again, there was the hopes that that big superstar, this big international superstar, would just break open the popularity of the sport. Now, I believe that there's a better chance of doing it because soccer has definitely blown up in this country, especially more recently. So
at least at the higher levels,
I definitely want to see a soccer game with Messi. Like,
I mean,
that's going to bring
exciting
me to a game.
Do you think that with, like, because especially in the States, like, you guys have such huge sports events, you know, like big, it's a lot of money, like we were saying with baseball and then with hockey. And, you know, like, is there enough money to spread around for soccer in the States?
That's the thing. Soccer is a lot less money than it is for basketball and football and baseball. Like, you can see you can get a pretty good ticket at an MLS game. They'll probably be the same as the nosebleeds at Fenway Park.
Can we get expensive players is what I mean.
Well,
like, are they going to be like they are in Europe where they,
I think that's what the hope
they
is.
Like run a city? You know?
Yeah,
so Moss is saying
maybe this is a start. Yeah.
The idea of Messi has already made ticket sales go up tenfold.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so his statement is that when Messi comes over, he's going to need to build a bigger stadium, which he has plans for. And so I don't know if this is a marketing ploy, because it could be. You know, oh, look how popular we are, and, you know, fudge some numbers, and now my backers say it's okay to throw $60 million at Lionel Messi. Or if it's real, but he's getting equity in the team too, which I don't think has ever been done before. And so the idea that Messi can come own a piece of a football team and kind of retire in Miami is a pretty good deal for him, honestly.
It's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, and
there are worse places to be than Miami.
Yeah, right. And he comes off looking like a true ambassador of the sport,
like giving us a gift.
I do think like this is a big part of it is marketing and PR for soccer. All right. Are you guys still stuck on calling it soccer, or are we starting to call it football?
I said football the whole time for you.
I call it football.
It's very confusing in Canada because we call it both.
Yeah.
And it kind of just depends on the room you're in, you know?
Yeah.
I think we're kind of getting to the same place.
We all just watched Ted Lasso, so we're all experts.
Right.
Oh, yeah, totally experts on the football.
I have to say quite occasionally, every season I go see a few games in Montreal because we have the Impact team or whatever they're called now. I think they changed their name, but I think they might be changing it back. But anyways, I went to a game and there was this guy from like South London sitting in front of me. So that like grimy gangster accent that we see in all the movies that we love, like very Guy Ritchie. Okay.
Right.
And
amazing.
It was a very bad game. The team was not doing well. This guy is like apoplectic. He's screaming. He's turning purple. And finally he screams at the team. He's like, "That's why you call it bloody soccer, because it ain't football." And he just stormed out of the whole match.
Oh my God.
I almost died. I was like, well, he's right.
That was amazing, Nat.
That's awesome.
Do that always.
Yeah.
So good. That was my favorite game. It was terrible. We lost miserably. And I think it was to Texas. But regardless, it was...
Oof.
Texas.
Yeah.
Are you going to watch the World Cup?
Probably not. I'll read the headlines.
Does Canada have a good team, women's team?
Yeah.
They do actually. They do.
Yeah.
I don't think they're on par with the Americans, but they're pretty good.
Their men's team is probably better than the Americans. Then again, most men's teams are better than the American men. So it's, they
won a
did
whole
better
round
this
year,
time.
you guys.
That's a great segue to the next topic, by the way.
Okay.
I'm gonna start right now. Do we want to do a next topic, John?
Next topic.
Do we want to do?
There, it's
You
already-
know what I've noticed?
What?
You have the best next topics, and always the ones that I use in the record in the edit.
I don't know. I'm just
You're a walking soundbite, Pete.
trying to get it
Walking
moving.
soundbite, and we're gonna use that one. Go, Mark.
So the U.S. men's national team recently defeated Canada in the CONCACAF Nations League to win the title. In the final, both Chris Richards and, oh my God, I'm going to butcher this, Folarin Balogun scored their first international goals, becoming the first two ever to accomplish that feat. And Captain Christian Pulisic was also named the tournament's best player. In addition to Canada, the U.S. team also beat El Salvador, Grenada, and Mexico to win the title. So everyone, how do we feel about the U.S. men's national team after winning the CONCACAF Cup?
Say it again.
CONCACAF.
Cup.
So
Wait. I got one ready.
Ukka-Pekka Luukkonen.
Okay, well, it's a different sport, but yes.
Totally counts. You're gonna say something?
So
now?
when I saw that question, I was like, it is such a long acronym. It's got to be
It
about
is.
soccer.
Yes, CONCACAF.
Like, this is a football thing, guys.
It's definitely a football question. It's also
because I'm
so.
like just looking at like a string of letters. I'm like, I don't know what this means.
This was originally actually supposed to be the last question, but I figured with the flow, John asked a football question, so I
Yeah,
would also.
That's okay.
Football. I think Christian Pulisic might be one of the best young players in soccer.
Is
in
this
football.
sort of their win? Because I only kind of briefly looked it up today. Sorry.
Yeah.
Like, is it kind of like akin to sort of like the soccer version of the Miracle Game from the 80s?
No, because this wasn't really an upset.
Yeah.
Like
So
that,
I know I had read some things like it's like, oh, like they're expecting Canada. It's like, look, Canada doesn't have the money to compete
no,
at
they
that
don't.
kind of like
No, they
soccer
don't.
level. We don't, because I'm like, I know you have to buy your good matches, you have to buy your good locations to play. It's like there's this whole sort of alleged mafioso thing with soccer internationally. I'm like, Canada's never going to compete on that level.
So
FIFA
for
is
those-
one of the most corrupt
That's why we were
organizations
there
in the whole
last
world,
time.
right?
Never mind that. So for those that aren't aware, the Miracle Game that Nat is referring to is the
The
from the 1980s Olympics
Get it, girl.
Yep,
with
Yes.
the U.S. men's hockey team versus Russia.
Yep.
Which they beat the Russians. Thank God for that. And that actually was not the final. That was not the Gold Cup game. That was actually the
No.
semifinal game.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
It was
Al
strongly
Michaels,
Michaels,
that
that-
Russia would win.
Al
and
Michaels
America
was a
just
Do You
pulled up
Believe in
a good-
Miracles? Yep.
Yep. That was what put him on the world map of broadcasters too, was that game.
And Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell
Pretty
made
sure I
the
have
movie.
that
Yes.
game on DVD.
Oh, cool.
The
Actually,
game
it's probably
itself.
on Betamax, but yeah.
Baymax.
Ooh.
Oh.
I still have a functioning Betamax. Guys.
Why aren't you guys called
No,
the
shit, that's
Betamax
amazing.
Club?
When they do a
Really?
Betamax review, a 70s review, they should put a Betamax on
Maybe.
the website.
Yes.
Be awesome.
All right,
Technically-
so
Those
yeah,
things.
U.S. men's national team. I mean, again, so this is after the year after that they made it to the round of 8 for the World Cup. I mean, should we get excited about the men's national team? Really,
I mean,
Are they gonna be
I
like this?
just said it, but Christian Pulisic is very exciting.
He's
an
very
exciting
exciting.
player. I mean,
he's very exciting. He's in
and
the
I think
Premier
may-
League, right?
right?
He's in.
And I think the only
Okay,
reason, one of the reasons that we lost in the World Cup is that he got kicked right in the balls.
Hmm.
That does hurt.
I
Ouch,
mean, we
yeah.
lost the game right after that because he couldn't be Christian Pulisic. And I
Oh,
mean, You
yes.
saw his
I remember
Well,
that.
he's the only offense too. So
Yeah.
it's the only offense. When you saw his performance in this tournament, I mean,
Yep.
they look great
Mhm.
when he's on the
Okay.
field, when he's on the pitch. Nat, they look
The
great when
pitch.
he's on the pitch.
Right, the correct terminology.
Ah.
That's-
that's another Ted Lasso. That's
Yeah.
because of Ted Lasso right there.
Of
Yep.
course it is.
We've
We
all
love you, Ted
become
Lasso.
slightly more intelligent regarding soccer / football because of watching Ted Lasso.
What do you think, Nat?
I think we should be excited. I mean, why not? Always support the team. It's
Always.
like if they have a chance, get excited now because it'll get them excited. You know, it's like you've got to. I mean, that's
True.
the thing with fans, especially when you're cheering for a national team. I mean, I've watched a few Olympic games where it's like there's no hope that Team Canada is going to win, and I'm just like, nope, they're going to win, and they do. You know, it's like you gotta have faith. It's
true.
fun. It just
gotta have
makes
faith.
it more fun when you're like possibly the underdog, especially. So
You got to believe in your country, right?
it's
Yeah.
just fun to have a team to believe in. You know, so it's like, yeah,
Absolutely.
let's cheer on.
Especially if they're
Soccer.
underdog, right? Because
Oh,
you have
yeah,
low
completely.
expectations, and if they
Yeah.
win,
It just
Oh,
makes
then
the
the win
victory.
is like 10 times greater. you
Yes.
know?
Yeah, it's just that
Absolutely.
much better. Agreed.
I mean, I feel
Yeah.
like football in America itself is gaining popularity. I mean, it is.
absolutely.
I think so.
I think the thing that we run into is the thing that we run into a lot of B-list sports is just like, for it to get better, we need better players. To get better players, we need to make more money. To make more money, it needs to be watched, right? But it's circular. It's all connected.
Yeah,
And
it's
Well,
tough.
something that's going to benefit the MLS too is like this time of year. So NBA is over, NHL is over, NFL will be coming up soon. All we really have is baseball, but no, we don't. We have soccer too. Sorry, soccer.
you said it twice.
So
It's interchangeable. It's
Just
fine.
soccer or
doubled
football
you just
is
doubled down on soccer.
I did. Is a lot, say in some respects, easier to see than baseball because it's cheaper. There's not as many people, so that's one reason it has the potential to blow up in this country
There you go.
because
does.
of the other sports leagues that are just way out of proportion, especially when it comes to the price.
I think
also,
I think money is improved in soccer in North America, and the play is improving. So from when
The play is improving
Oh,
too.
yeah,
Yes.
it has been improving the past few years. Like it's
Yeah.
noticeable from when I first started going to see Montreal Impact games, and then now there's a huge difference. It's getting much better.
Nice.
Couldn't tell you one person on the Revolution though. Couldn't. I know they're all right though. That's all I know
Yeah.
about them.
Do you
Oh, well.
guys have so in Montreal they built an open air stadium because you know it's soccer, it's football, it's played outside,
Sure.
it's usually played in the summer, but I mean like it is Canada. How many
Well,
times there's
so-
pouring
yeah.
rain?
Right. Yeah.
Most MLS stadiums they play opposite of football teams, so they kind of share the stadium. But you're absolutely right. There's been some MLS games where it's snowing. So
Huh.
'cause I think
Yeah,
they started
I mean,
in March.
there's even been some like football games where it's like NFL games where it's snowing or,
Oh yeah, that's
or pouring rain.
that's just December in Buffalo as far as I'm concerned. Like we had like 3 snow games this year. One of them we got trounced in.
All right, shall we move on?
Sure.
I love that line, by the way, Pete. It's like that's just a summer in Buffalo.
Yeah. Well, okay, it only snowed once in the summer in Buffalo that I remember.
Hey, baby.
All right,
do you
Pete.
wanna
I
mix
need
Snow
I
is
need a
so
next-
much better
I
than
need a
rain
next
in
topic
open
from
air
you,
stadium.
Pete.
I agree.
I need a next topic from you, Pete.
I don't know.
I got one ready.
Yep.
Take me home tonight. All the
Where was the
For
next
the
topic part of
next
it?
topic, when you
Yes.
can see the light.
yes, that works.
All right, you're doing really good there. You
I
just
was,
had
and then I just realized I forgot the words.
to be my little baby. All right.
Be my little next topic.
Ooh, that's good.
There you go.
All right. Let's do another football question and talk about our favorite Canadian, Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney made this month's Variety magazine cover for their lovable business venture with the Wrexham City AFC. On paper, when this show was pitched, most thought of it as 2 bumbling Hollywood schmucks and a fish out of water story. But the show is instantly successful, and as they gear up for season 2, the story of it is going to be their promotion out of the National League. And so Wrexham star Paul Rutherford recently played in an American tournament and was amazed at the mad American fans, and the majority of them being Welsh favor. The combination of the show as well as the documentary on Disney Plus has seen the club's popularity skyrocket. And so as the club continues to get marketed by our favorite marketer, Ryan Reynolds, do you think that there is a limit to how far they can go?
That depends, I guess, right? Because while it's fantastic that they got promoted, that you have to build on that, right? Like they can't just rest on their laurels because they're not happy. Like they want to make it to either Premier League or Champions League because you get even more money associated with that. But that's the good thing with promotion is like now you can spend a little bit more money on your players. And I will say this: Welcome to Wrexham has definitely been a huge success. It brought a big fan base to this Welsh team that nobody really heard about, especially in the States. Because now, let's be honest, it had more to do with Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, but
Of course, it's
but the
great
two of them,
marketing though.
absolutely,
Oh,
and the
for
two of
sure.
them,
All
like
about building that fan base.
the two of
The
them are
more
like together
They
phenomenal.
are people that want to hear about it and see about it. The more money they can get.
Yeah.
It's another underdog story, right? Like people love an underdog story.
Definitely. Yeah, how
I
many?
find very similarly this NHL season this year, this calendar year, the Seattle Kraken blew up on TikTok.
Yeah, the
And just so in case any listeners don't know, on TikTok there's sort of subsets, and Book Talk has been talking because it's hockey season, and they were talking about like, what about hockey makes a good spicy romance novel. So this kind of spurred to women looking more into like, well, show me hockey stuff. And then the Seattle Kraken's genius marketing team, probably somebody's daughter off the side of their desk, was like, I'm gonna just do a TikTok about this. And they showed the guys stretching because it's like, let's just say hockey boys doing their little warm-up pregame makes women feral. So yeah, I mean, it was genius. It's absolutely genius. Like this team is now internationally known.
That is very cool.
Well, the Kraken also they have Macklemore involved too, and he's got millions of followers too. So,
but they also had like a whole bunch of support. A huge fan just popped out of nowhere, and I found it's the same with Wrexham. Is that it's nobody heard of the team. Suddenly, that's all we hear about all the time, and that's amazing. It's just there's so much you can build on that.
So Weatherford they just played a tournament, and they were the favorites everywhere, and this is this little Welsh team from this little town that nobody knew about, and they're just like, what's happening? I think, and the reason I brought it up, I think that Ryan Reynolds could market anything. I mean, he sold Mint Mobile for $1 jillion, right?
Aviation Gin, right?
So much money off of that Aviation Gym, and so all he's doing is he's just taking his charm and his charisma, and he's putting it behind these kids who
he could sell snow to an Eskimo.
Good at football, and just the thought that TikTok is now their sponsor. I mean, just like getting a real sponsor on their jerseys, getting real players on the team, getting real fans at the game so that they can pay for better players. I mean, just that stuff all builds on itself.
Is there
how long do you think they're going to stay as owners? Like, do you think there's going to be a certain point? Because at a certain point, if they get promoted again, now I don't. That'll be like the third level, right?
I was going to say, how many levels are there right now? Like
they're 5, and so they went from the lowest one in the National League.
They're in level 2 now. Okay, so Premier League being level 5, we'll say.
So do they pull out like right before the promotion into the Champions League?
I think that they keep going until it's A, not
I think
fun, or B, not profitable. And right now, it's both fun and profitable.
When Ryan Reynolds was wooing them to buy them, he was already a fan. Like, they started off as fans of the team, and they're like, let's just buy them. And it's like, okay,
well, it all started with Rob McElhenney, because he's the one that's like, this is like a Philadelphia team almost, because he's from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So he had to convince Ryan Reynolds.
This like sort of rivalry about like who's the biggest fan and like all this. It was just funny. It was good social content, but I mean, again, they started off as fans. I don't know if they'll let them go. I was very disappointed Ryan Reynolds lost the bid for the Ottawa Senators.
Oh yeah. I guess it'll depend on if someone like gives them like a really enticing offer, right? Because at a certain point, this is now a social marketing machine, right?
Right.
So there's going to be a lot of money involved with it. Someone is going to overpay potentially to buy them out, and then who knows?
He sold Mint, right?
He sold Mint.
Yeah, but I don't feel like he had such an emotional attachment to.
No, but he sold Mint because T-Mobile offered him a lot of money.
Pretty attached emotionally to their sports.
I agree. I feel like something about this feels different.
They were definitely invested on their socials when they
Yeah.
won their promotion. Blake, the story goes that Blake bought ESPN 12 or whatever so that they could watch games when they were in the States. I mean, it seems like they like it a lot.
Even further down than the Ocho.
But
They brought
at a certain
Paul Rudd
point,
over.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's
And
a
Will
price.
Ferrell.
Well,
Well, that's the thing. At a certain
Everybody-
point, if they get
They've got a
promoted
price,
again,
but
the value of the team is going to potentially be worth a lot, maybe into the billions. Someone's going to be interested in purchasing that.
Yeah.
even like midway between the leagues, it's worth that much.
no, not
No,
until they
no,
get
not
to
now.
The
Not
Champions
now.
League or the Premier League. it
Oh,
won't be
okay,
worth
yeah. I
that
was going to
much.
say the top two
So
for
they
sure,
have
but
2 more promotions to get, which aren't going to be easy. I mean,
No,
they will need,
no.
they will need to continue to restaff, and a lot of those teams that do that well, they have a very established minor league program.
Mhm.
I don't know the words for what they use in UK soccer, but very established programs, very established
like farm
coaches,
teams.
and just right. I mean, all that stuff needs to be built up if you're going to really stay in the Premier League. Because I mean, Man U, Chelsea, you can't lose. You're not supposed to lose, right? If you lose in Man U or you lose in Chelsea, you get fired
Or worse.
or worse.
Or worse.
It's more like Arsenal's bag, but yeah.
Well, yes, right. Arsenal too. Like those teams, man, that's serious business.
Yeah.
Those are serious fandoms. Those are fandoms
Oh,
like
yeah.
you
Serious fandom.
tourists
Serious
on the
fandoms.
wrong side.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, some of those stadiums, like, you see those fans go absolutely batshit crazy.
There's some teams that I'm like, I would definitely not go see it no matter what.
Right. Don't wear the wrong kit. Another Ted Lasso term.
Seriously.
Nice.
I went to go see a game in Glasgow in Scotland. I saw the Celtics versus the Filthy Rangers, and so clearly you know what side I sit on, and you also
Not the
now know
Boston
my
Celtics.
religious affiliations. Like it's so down to even just like what neighborhood you're from, what your religious affiliation is.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the Catholic Proddy thing is still huge in the UK, which shocks me. I accidentally walked into the Protestant bar that they walk into in Glasgow in Trainspotting 2. And there was
Okay.
a football match
Trainspotting
on, and I was
2.
like to my friend, I'm like, we gotta go because they're gonna smell the Catholic on us. Like this is not
no.
safe.
Huh.
It's so weird because I'm like, here in North America, that's really not a topic of conversation much
No.
anymore. Like
That's
Catholic
funny.
and Protestant, I'm like, I think the last time there was a big conversation about that was with JFK.
No, we let them in.
Oh no, they hated him because he was Catholic.
I know.
Yeah, there definitely was some animosity there. But
But I'm like, now I'm like, it's still a
Sheesh.
thing there. So yeah, football's crazy. It's a lot of fun to.
Have you
It's a
ever
lot
been
of
to a
fun.
Premier League game, Nat?
No,
No.
no.
No football hooligans
this-
for you?
The highest I went to was a Celtic game. I don't even know what. They're not Premier. Celtics in nope, can't remember what league they are, but it's not. Yeah, it's not Premier.
gotcha.
Yeah,
There's a whole
but it was
different
still a
names.
really good game, and it made me like really embarrassed by our soccer here. I was like,
Oh.
it's not the same. This is actually exciting to watch. Like the play keeps going; it doesn't stop every 5 seconds. Also in Scotland, it's like, especially when they're playing like against the rival team, it's like they're not going to take time for like a dramatic, tumble or something to get a call. Like they're just going out there and murdering each other.
Fake injury,
It's pretty
Oh,
exciting.
yeah.
All right, let's move on. Who's got next topic?
Nat's got a next topic.
What did you guys not talk about?
No, just say like we just kind of come up with funny sayings
We
on how
asked
to
the guests
say
to do
next topic.
sound bites for our transition pieces in the recording, and so you
Okay,
can say
so-
next topic.
For the listeners, I'm only catching like every second word because we're still technically having a technical issue.
Yeah,
It's okay.
you're doing extraordinarily well. Despite
You're
that.
doing great.
I'm also reading lips. Like I'm tracking you guys.
Oh my
John goes
gosh.
behind the mic sometimes. I'm like, oh, John,
Hello.
don't do that.
John, move her that way.
So I missed the whole
No.
soundbite thing.
Oh,
So if you want, and you don't have to, if you can say next topic in a silly voice, in a regular voice, in an accent, or in wherever you want, and then we'll put it in the recording. Or
as
Pete will do
part of a
another one,
90s
'cause
movie
Pete's really good at them.
quote.
So next topic.
There you go.
Yeah,
That works.
So
the Phoenix Suns have a new owner in Matt Ishbia, and he is starting to make waves in the NBA. After the Suns lost to the eventual champions Denver Nuggets, Ishbia decided the team needed big changes. They decided to trade for Washington Wizards guard Bradley Beal, who was owed $46.7 million next season, and they got rid of Chris Paul, who was an aging point guard who can't seem to help a team win a title. Coincidentally, Isaiah Thomas may be involved with that. That's right, former New York executive Isaiah Thomas. Another big move is to be rumored. And Detroit Piston. Another big move is to be rumored is surrounding their former number 1 overall draft pick, center DeAndre Ayton. So everyone, did the Suns get better after trading Bradley Beal, or do we feel that they didn't learn anything from losing to the Nuggets? They're getting smaller.
They're getting smaller.
They're getting smaller.
Right. And I mean, I don't think, besides being a big cap hit and maybe not being able to finish, I don't think Beal was a bad player, and I don't think he was the reason.
Beal's an amazing player.
Yeah.
Beal's an amazing player. And
So,
he'll probably be a pretty good fit on that team, but you got rid of your starting point guard.
Right.
So who's your starting point guard now?
Right. I mean, what is Beal? I mean, he's young at least.
He's young. He's a shooting guard, but Devin Booker, who is also their big name star. By the way, Devin Booker next year owed $36 million.
Ooh.
And Kevin Durant, who was also on the team, owed $47.6 million.
I can never keep track of
pretty
what
much your
team.
whole salary cap is going to 3 players.
Wow. I can never keep track of what team Kevin Durant is currently on.
Yeah, he's always on a different team.
He's
But no, he got traded
journeyman.
this past year during the trade deadline because the Nets decided that they didn't want to win games anymore.
He's a good player. I don't know why. I guess
He's a great player, but again, so the salary cap next year is going to be $136 million. Now the NBA, they have a soft salary cap because you can essentially extend that salary cap with trades and other kind of things that you can play around with. But at a certain point, you start to pay a penalty, which the NBA calls. It's the same thing as Major League Baseball as a luxury tax. But there's ways around the salary cap within the NBA. So with this trade for Bradley Beal, this is a way to kind of to get above that salary cap. But they are trying to dump a lot of salary because Chris Paul, he was owed $30 million for next year if he stayed on the Suns. And then DeAndre Ayton, who I mentioned before, $32 million is what he is owed for next year.
But
I just don't know if they're better.
They're smaller.
Yeah.
What did we talk about the Nuggets? How did they win? They had 2 big men.
Yeah, I was gonna say, weren't you guys talking about maybe the beginning of the trend towards larger players again, or at least having that one large center that just kind of just gets in everybody's way and just backs their way up to the basket for an easy layup, Shaq style.
I love dominant big men in the NBA. That and Victor Wembanyama, by the way, which the draft is going on right now as we speak.
Okay. Did he get picked?
He was
I'd imagine he got picked, but who did he go to?
He went to the Spurs.
Okay.
Yeah, the Spurs were always going to take him.
Okay.
But seriously, so he's listed as 7'2". He's potentially still growing as well. And potentially he's unguardable because of his skill set. He can shoot from outside, but he can also play down low, and he's an amazing defender. Like big men, because of the NBA is just in love with the 3-point shot right now. That was kind of the downfall of the Celtics. I think they just want to shoot threes all the time when they had 2 very good big men that they could have easily have dominated teams. I believe had they just pounded it down low.
Be a unicorn when everybody is not.
Remember the Dirk Nowitzki reign, where big men who could shoot threes were very popular.
By the way, there's also talk of the Celtics. By the way, they want to trade. John, you're going to appreciate this, for Kristaps Porzingis.
Huh.
Yeah. There's a three-way trade that involves Porzingis going to the Celtics. Not a fan. Not a fan.
I actually
But
don't
I
know
think-
that player. Who is he and why is he super good?
So he was actually originally on the Mavericks. No, I'm sorry, the Knicks. And he's a 7-footer, and he was essentially donned the next Dirk Nowitzki because he can shoot threes. He wasn't as kind of built like Nowitzki was. He was a very tall and skinny kid. They call him the unicorn.
There you go.
And he got hurt a little bit. Now he got traded to the Mavericks, and then last year he was on the Wizards. But now he had his best scoring year last year. He had 23 points a game. Excuse me. So they're thinking he's on the up. I don't know. The Celtics, they just want more people that can shoot 3-pointers, I guess.
Interesting.
I mean, to go
Could
back to
talk
the
about this
Suns, I don't think the Suns are. I mean, they came in 4th in the Western Conference this year. What were they? 8 games out of the Nuggets. The Nuggets didn't get worse. The Nuggets will probably get better. The Nuggets have the momentum now. I don't think Beal makes them 4 games better.
No,
Don't.
because he makes them worse defensively,
Right.
and
Especially in
smaller.
a league where they have to play the Nuggets a bunch of times.
Exactly.
where Jokic is just gonna kick all their faces
Yeah,
in.
that
Exactly.
doesn't sound like a sound strategy there.
You had a 7-footer that was essentially the bane of your existence, and he was a problem, and you didn't solve it because you just got smaller.
Oof.
Right,
Does that
is
make
their,
any sense?
Who's their center now?
Is
anyway?
this the thing that happens? Because I feel like I've seen this in a couple of different like sports. When you win the championship,
Mhm.
you like that. Sometimes the team will, instead of keep that team and promote that team and keep it strong for the next year, they kind of do a restructure for the next season.
So this
there a
is
reason
kind
for
of this is somewhat similar, but this is the team that lost to the eventual champions that is trying
Okay,
to
they
revamp.
lost.
They're trying to revamp, but they're
Okay.
not necessarily going in a smart way because there's a reason why they lost to this team. It's because
Was the
they
big
got
guy.
outmatched
Yeah.
with 2 big men, and they decided, oh, well, we'll combat that by getting even smaller.
I think you have a good point though, Natalie. Where like, maybe not necessarily the champion, but somebody almost there, and they're like, "Oh man, we didn't quite win. Obviously, it's not good enough. Let's tear the entire thing down and start over." Or
But they
like,
were so
go
close.
in the
Like,
opposite
wouldn't
direction,
you want to
right?
promote
They
that
weren't that
team for the
close.
next year? That was like, okay, well,
Well,
And Mark, what happened to
you're
DeAndre Ayton?
still
anyway?
second place.
It's nothing.
Like,
He's still on the team,
I
but
see what you
they
mean.
want to get rid of him. The Suns have been trying to get rid of Ayton for the last 2 years.
But he is 7
it sounds
feet.
personal.
Exactly.
He's a first round draft
Yeah.
pick. He's
Number
20
1 draft pick.
He's 27.
Yes. Is he worth? He's not necessarily worth the price tag, though. Again, he's owed what I say, over $32 million next year,
damn.
and he's kind of been a problem. So now you have to replace him with another center because again, you can't just have your tallest guy being listed as 6'9". Sorry, Miami.
Hey, Bam is scruffy.
Bam is scruffy. He's not my
Like,
starting center though.
How small is the team? Like, I mean, there's not like a lot of teams that have like, what was his name?
Every team should have a
Muggsy?
7-footer. Oh, Muggsy Bogues?
Yeah. Oh my god,
he
he was
was
my
5'9".
favorite. We were talking about him.
I'm sorry,
years
5'3". He was listed at 5'3".
But he was one of the best players in the league.
Absolutely.
Huh.
But if
But I'm
he
like,
gets
but that's rare.
Yeah,
rare.
that's
He went-
that's
he gets-
definitely
he gets
a
the paint.
unicorn right there.
Spud Webb also listed at 5'7", won a slam dunk contest.
What,
Also
That's-
another short guy.
dude?
Yeah.
Short guys.
Oh. Don't challenge me on short guys in the NBA, guys. I will just school you.
Oh
all.
no, they're good. That's my point. Is, like,
You
but
can't
they-
build
I
a championship team
they're-
around them though.
not like it can't be the whole team, right? So-
Right. I could see that being like this phenomenal player that's like different than everybody else. Is like, oh, it's a one-off
That's
thing.
a Disney.
but
That's a Disney movie, you guys. That doesn't happen.
An
in real life.
entire
It's
team.
called
of-
Space Jam?
That's not going to make. That's not making it to theaters. It's Disney
but they
Plus.
still had Michael Jordan.
Yeah, and the thing about the NBA right now is you have Joel Embiid's and Nikola Jokic's who just literally are putting their hands up, and those guys, and not even the 5'7" guys or the 5'3" guys, because that's a joke, but the 6'2" guys, the 6'6" guys, those guys can't shoot in the paint.
No.
I mean, they can't. They're not allowed. Because Joel Embiid is like 285 pounds.
He's a large man.
Whoa.
That
He's a
man
large
is
man.
a fucking tree.
He didn't used to be. When he was in college in Kansas, he was a lot smaller and lighter. He was almost like Anthony Davis. He did put on some weight because you need to do that
So,
in the NBA.
Nat,
But that
for
much?
perspective, Joel Embiid is Kevin Hart's best friend. And so it's really funny watching
He's a
them,
large man.
watching them next to each other. Kevin Hart is very small and Joel
Yeah.
Embiid is very tall.
Random thought. These extremely tall players, like these over 7-footers, which are, like, again, it's a bit more of an anomaly, right? To have them over 7'2" or whatever.
I would hope
Like,
so.
what's their? I used to work in a preventative health center, so we did a lot of injury recovery, rehab, and prevention for athletes. And like these really, really big guys have a very high injury rate.
Oh, absolutely. Human
Because
beings were
there's-
not meant to be 7 feet tall.
Well, and that's why they bulk up, too.
It's like the way they grow. It's like sometimes they're growing too fast, so they're
Yeah.
not as they don't have the strength in their like ligaments, tendons, like functional musculoskeletal, function is not the same as
What was that word?
somebody musculoskeletal.
I like it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
I
right,
know a
but
lot
it's
of
amazing.
my brother hates watching me because right away I'm like, oh, that's a concussion. Oh God, he's still gonna play. He's gonna be a vegetable. Yeah, my brother hates watching. I'm like, oh, he blew his knee, and my brother's like, no, he's fine. I'm like,
We talked
no,
about
that is.
concussions another episode.
So yeah, now we're
Oh,
talking.
yeah.
We have been talking about a couple of episodes, and now today's the NBA draft. A 19-year-old man. His name is Victor Wembanyama, and he's 7 foot tall. We got to get it right. 229 pounds. So 7'2", 229, and it's just not big enough. It's just not big enough. I don't think
No.
he's just this long string bean of a dude.
Wait, 229?
No, I
That's
thought he
what
was
it
less
says
than
on,
that.
yeah,
Oh,
229.
yeah. I thought he was like 189 or something like that.
Okay,
Yeah,
that'd be
that's what
like
it says on
that'd be
If he's
like
gains,
look
if he's
at
gains, if he's
Yeah.
over 200, that's okay.
7'2", 229.
Yeah.
that was like
So
me
I
in
might
10th
be.
grade when I was like 6 feet tall and like 120 pounds. Like,
Yeah, it's too small.
Yes, he should probably put on a little more. Anyway,
I
Yeah.
mean,
we should move on.
I'm 5'7", and I could reach 229. I wouldn't be happy or
Well,
healthy, but I
that's
could reach
that's a
229.
problem.
right. Yeah.
That's another problem in itself.
Yeah. Well, shut up.
I love my wings though. I could do that too.
Oh, yes.
I could eat wings all day, every day.
day.
Oh yeah.
Wings all day. Pete, let's do a next topic.
Next topic gives you wings.
That was amazing.
You just made me think of a
I heard
Red
that
Bull
one.
commercial before that.
Not
a sponsor.
But it could be.
But it could, yeah. But you could be.
But you could be.
Call us.
So, Amazon's coverage of the National Football League Thursday night games on Prime Video delivered an average audience of 8.5 or 58 million viewers per game during the 2022 regular season, according to Nielsen. And as well, the games had the youngest median age, 47, of any NFL broadcast window since 2013.
That's the median
With the rise,
age. Wow.
yeah, with the rise of streaming platforms across sports broadcasting, how will the landscape of it change over the next few years? And is it better or worse?
You said 47 was the median age,
That's what the internet
and that's
says.
low.
That's what I remarked on.
That's a lot. That's a lot of people streaming in their 50s and 60s.
I mean, I
there.
guess that's kind of an impressive thing in a way then, right?
I mean, it's the average, right? And so of all
No. Median is not an average. Median is
Median is
like
median.
the 50th percentile.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that there is just as many people in their 50s, 60s, and 70s that were streaming as there were in like their 20s and 30s.
You guys are bearing the lead. It's the lowest since 2013.
But still,
bury the
I don't
lead.
know.
Don't
I don't
bury the
Listen,
lead.
I was a math major and statistics concentration, so I know what the word median means.
Yes.
But anyway, it was an impressive, absolutely. And
that
I
caught
will
me too.
Thursday night football was actually quite entertaining, especially with Fitzpatrick.
Yes, Ryan Fitzpatrick. He's my hero.
Exactly. And he had a pretty good commentator with Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit, which seemed a little funny to me because every time I hear Kirk Herbstreit's voice, I think he's looking at college football. But still, it was they had a very good dynamic. I'm assuming they're going to be the commentary for next season.
I hope so.
But and another thing that I love, like the Nielsen ratings with regards to Amazon, so the thing with Nielsen ratings, that's just a sample size, and they do an estimate of how many people that they think watched it. But with Amazon, you know exactly how many people watched it. You can see how many people were streaming at the time.
Yeah, your streaming analytics are way better than broadcast TV.
Exactly.
Accuracy wise.
One of the problems with streaming is that it depends on the platform. Like I had up until now, I didn't even know that was available on Amazon Prime. And I just looked it up. It is available in Canada on Amazon Prime, but I didn't know that. I can't even get on Amazon.ca, like Prime. I can't even get all of the Prime movies and shows that they make themselves. Don't always air in Canada on Prime.
Well, that's another story because
like
all your
the
Netflix
audience.
is screwed up too. So you know.
Yeah,
Some would say it's better.
Is that why the VPN
but I'm just
business
saying, like,
is?
if everything goes to streaming, it's going to limit international viewership.
In some respects, you're absolutely right about that because the NFL they actually want an international crowd.
They do.
But you're absolutely right. There's certain limitations with regards that vary from country to country.
Unless Amazon gives like sports networks around the world permission to air it.
Right. Maybe with the NFL trying to push so much into international markets, they might do that.
But that's the next step.
They might fight for that.
That's the next step.
I think we're going a different direction, though. I think we're going in a place where streaming is going to take more sports, not less sports. And
I agree with that. I agree.
See it because there are more streaming platforms taking major national sports. Like the Apple TV coverage of Thursday night or Friday night baseball is really great.
Mm-hmm.
I think they just do a better job. I think the Amazon games are better. I think the Apple games are better. I
think they Apple and Amazon learned that you need to put out a good product too. You can't just stream it for the sake of streaming.
Right. So
like you need to have a good product.
Better cameras, better announcers, better analytics, and people are like, "Oh, this is great. I'm going to watch it here."
Yeah.
And I am, honestly.
So, you know how Amazon now has sort of a free, literally called a freebie alternative to Amazon Prime. And do we lose somebody?
Hi, Mark.
We lost Mark, ladies and gentlemen.
But Mark is still in the thinger, so his video's off. Anyway, say what you're going to say.
Yeah, it's okay. Natalie is now Mark. It's fine.
Yep.
Don't worry about it. So, yeah, where was I? Oh, yeah. So with Freebie, right, they just had a show called Jury Duty, which basically put this Freebie network streaming thing on the map. They're like a free, much larger access subsidiary of Amazon Prime. I wonder if they're going to start to do some limited coverage, or maybe like the first game of the season, maybe they'll simulcast it on Freevee as well to get people into the streaming service. Like, I wonder if you're going to see Apple TV too. Like maybe they'll have, hey, this one's free, or they'll be free with ads or something like that.
Mark, you're back.
We got Mark back.
Let's hear the whole time. I know what we're talking about.
So
I mean, I don't know if they even have to, though.
Maybe they don't, yeah. But I feel like that would,
think
whoever hasn't jumped on the bandwagon yet, maybe that would be what they need to do to get everybody else going.
What Amazon is, I think, trying to do is they're trying to charge more. And by charging more, and they already are, they're trying to say, okay, well, look at all this stuff we have, though. I think that it would almost suit the NFL to get into a very big... I mean, I think the one thing the NFL needs to do, and maybe all of sports, is to get rid of market blackouts. Just get rid of them. They're frustrating and annoying. I think
Amen to that.
They are... I think they're they're a construct of an older time where they had to exist.
Oh,
in some respects, there's no need for it anymore because there were certain like limitations to it, and there were like you had to have a certain amount of viewership in order to get rid of that. That NFL is a media juggernaut right now.
Right. Well, wasn't that also kind of an agreement with ticket sales too? It was like you'd black out things if you didn't sell out ticket sales, but right now ticket sales are not the largest income source of these teams. Like it's the broadcasting rights.
Not at all. Also, I find if they do that, it might for Amazon or for Apple, it would get international viewers or international subscribers.
That's true.
And that's what they want. They want more international viewership.
If I could watch all of my sports on Amazon, Right now, that would be the only reason for me to get Amazon Prime because it sucks in Canada. There's nothing.
Yeah.
It's terrible. I wanted to rent 10 Things I Hate About You, and it was like $40.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, is
I'm
that
like,
Canadian
no.
dollars?
I'll dust off my DVD.
Right?
I'll
Watch this in.
just watch it on Prime. No, I can't. That's too expensive. I'm like,
Damn.
my DVD costs $5. Like,
Yeah.
it still works.
$40 to rent.
Gonna
wow.
watch this in standard definition, like,
Wow.
you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, so it would be interesting if they made it affordable in Canada. They would definitely boost their subscribers here because right now they don't really have any. So.
Well, and I mean, Mark has mentioned this a number of times, but it's also the writing's definitely on the wall. I think the NFL does want to go international. I think they want international
they absolutely
teams
do.
and international games, and they want to play more
With
games.
all the, yeah,
and make
exactly.
more
With all the
money.
games abroad that they've been having, like
Yeah.
the NFL, I think long term they want to have at least one game every week that is out of the United States.
And from what I
We
hear,
have a lot of football fields in Canada.
Yeah.
I think you did an NFL game in Canada last year.
No.
there's
Some point in Canada.
Well, the Bills used to play in.
I think
in,
you're confused with the TFL.
no. Okay, so
Actually, that's the one.
right.
Not the same size. Fields are bigger.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah,
it's
bigger.
different.
Yeah.
So the Buffalo
The
Bills.
game plays harder.
Yes. For like,
It's slightly different. That's all.
I think
I'm a little actually surprised that the NFL hasn't absorbed the CFL.
so.
I'm actually a little surprised about that.
We're kind of like a farm team. We get all of your
Yeah,
college players that come
So
up
is
and
arena
then we
football.
send them
Arena
down for
football,
NFL
yeah.
drafts.
Yeah.
and they compete for the Grey Cup. I remember that. That's their trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Just
cup
a
is great.
Little knowledge. Maybe it is gray. It should just
One
be
of-
Gray, not great.
no gray. Gray. Or maybe it is actually Grey.
The color
for
gray.
that. Yes, the color gray.
I think they
Or is
should
it-
call it the Great Cup.
The
I think
Great
that's
Cup.
more compelling.
But
It's so great.
So the Bills had an agreement during the dark ages, during their 20-year playoff drought, where they got desperate and they started playing one of their home games in Canada in the Rogers Centre, which is
Oh, they did. I
way
remember
too
that.
small for an NFL game.
In the Rogers Center?
So not only did they do that, but the overwhelming majority of the fans that would come to this home game were rooting against the Bills because they were just
Home
trolling
game.
them. I mean, the Bills were
that's a tar-
the Bills were the
The
joke.
Bills were terrible then.
Yeah, they were terrible. And even when the Bills won 8 games in a season, they were still terrible. Like, they were still the laughing stock of the league because they were always.
Oh, the Rob Johnson years.
Well, this is after that. This is even darker. It got
Rob
worse.
Johnson.
This was like the Trent Edwards was like, oh my God, he played 2 good games. He could be the. Oh no, he's concussed. Oh no, he's never the same again. Never mind. Okay, he's terrible. We're still gonna put him out there for like 2 seasons. You know, it was those days. But anyway, yeah. So they had a few games, but they stopped that. If a Canadian NFL team expansion team were to form, what city do you think it would be?
Nat, go.
Sorry.
It's okay. I was
okay. So I'm thinking, I'm like,
Where do you want an NFL team?
yeah.
In
A
Canada.
Canadian
you want an
city NFL
team?
expansion
I
team.
really enjoy watching the CFL, so I
You're in
don't
Montreal,
see that
right?
it's necessary.
Mm. Well, because knowing
Because I
the
like CFL play better to watch than NFL. Like, there's just less stoppage.
they should put that on Amazon Prime
There's more
too.
game flow.
Okay.
It's not like a flag every 3 seconds, but
They do like to call flags.
A
They
lot of
do.
flags.
a lot.
I would like
Unnecessary
to.
flags.
It's a little frustrating.
I'd like to see a CFL game.
I used to watch more NFL, and now I kind of just watch depending on who's playing the halftime show.
That's funny.
That's
Good
fair.
reason. Seems right.
All right. Oh, we should move on. This is gonna be a long show.
It's okay.
Sorry, John.
We're
Might be a lot
doing
to
it.
edit. Who's got next topic?
We're at an hour 12.
Who's got a
We're
next
fine.
topic?
You have a next topic.
Yeah, Mark, do it.
Everyone asks.
Oi, I got next topic.
That's wonderful.
Nice.
There's a new trend going on in baseball where teams celebrate together after home runs that involve elaborate costumes, props, and dances, among other things. The top 5, according to MLB.com, are the Mariners with a helmet and Aquaman-like trident, the Angels and their samurai helmet, the White Sox and the mobster hat and jacket, the Nationals and the powdered wig, and finally the Twins and a fishing reel. There are also the Sox with their inflatable dumbbells, the Pirates swashbuckling a plastic sword. It's actually pretty phenomenal.
Nice.
And the Reds and with their Viking helmet and cape, and the Padres with a team selfie. Not sure if the Mets or Yankees are doing anything. Sorry.
They're not.
So everyone, what do we like or dislike about home run celebrations?
I don't know.
I
dude.
didn't realize that after
This has
the
become a
home
thing.
run and the high fives, and I looked, and I like, okay, yeah, that's normal. And I looked it up. I'm like, oh my god, they have their Fisher Price toys out, and they go through the dugout with them. That's adorable.
Mm-hmm. So they used to be.
Is there a point to it?
Well, it's just team camaraderie and celebrating. There used to be a lot less. So the Red Sox, before these inflatable dumbbells that they had a shopping cart.
Yeah,
And
I knew of.
Mm-hmm. So the guy that hit the home run, he would go in the shopping cart. Another guy would like push him in the dugout,
Oh my God.
and whatnot.
Yeah.
So these weren't as abundant as they are now. Like most teams now seem to have, except for the Yankees, have to have some kind of celebration that they all just look so happy and they want to enjoy hitting a home run.
It's cute. I was like, are they trying to go viral on social media? Are they
Maybe a little
jealous
bit.
of the
This might have to
Kraken?
do with this. Yeah, this might have to do with the Kraken and in social media and want to go viral.
You know what?
The little Fisher Price fishing rod sent me. I laughed
That's
so
amazing.
hard. I was like, literally like red, white, and blue, super cute.
All right.
Like, guys, that's really? It was cute. It was fun.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, I
It's
didn't know
not
about these. I'm
trending.
watching them right now.
You need to learn up on this. Yeah. Well, again, if the Yankees had a little bit more fun, maybe you would know.
I mean, they
okay.
need
There's no fun in New York.
like Gen Z girl in there with her TikTok account to just blow it up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just somebody with a cell phone in there, somebody under the age of like 30, and just be like, go fix this and make
I
it
mean-
like more
Right.
palatable
wouldn't-
to everybody.
But I mean, that's what's happening, though, right? You have, and maybe not, TikTok girls, but you have 30-year-old women running social media marketing for major sports teams and saying we have to do something fun. Because people
probably
like
right.
to watch, people like to watch fun shit. And you put it on
Yeah.
TikTok.
I
you
noticed
put it
it's getting coverage on like sports
Yeah. That's all they want to cover.
stations, but it's not getting past that. And what they should, from a marketing perspective, they want to get past that. It's like you want people to hear about this because this is fun. It is fun.
I think then they just need to keep upping the ante. Just make it more.
Yeah.
Like what?
I don't know. Where do you go from here? Bigger
Like,
Fisher
is there
Price
anything at
toys.
the end of the fishing reel? Like,
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I just see like the guy like trying to like reel in the fish, and I don't
So
know if there's
Right.
maybe eventually there actually is a fish that they reel in or
Yeah.
something that they
Yeah.
reel
This
in.
Royals
Get it-
gladiator mask
Okay.
is a little weird.
So get it to the level of like, you ever see those team mascots where like the giant mascot runs out and then the cheerleader's like, oh no, and the mascot like eats the cheerleader? And have you ever seen that? Okay.
What are you
okay,
looking
look
at?
that up. It's
I have not,
hilarious.
Pete.
They're giant.
I'm not going to.
They're giant mascots, and they literally will like.
you can't Google that. Bad things
Okay,
will
yeah,
come
yeah.
up.
Sorry, but no, like I've seen
Let's
like
Google eat the cheerleader.
it's not necessarily a cheerleader,
Uh-oh.
but it's like somebody would be there, and the mascot would literally eat the other person, and like they would just like jump
What
into
are
their
you
mouth. and-
watching?
This is the thing. Look up
They need-
sports mascot
like
eating
the-
person. It's
Someone
hilarious.
should
I
email
don't
this
think
to
I
us
want to,
if anyone's
but-
listening.
I think I want to look at the
Okay, this
hashtag
is the
eat the
thing.
cheerleader though.
I mean,
If I
later
was
on
better
your
at
own.
my job here as producer and knew how to like screen share
Don't
something
do
right
that
now, I would
live.
play it.
Well, I know you got to figure that out. You got to figure that out so you can do
my God.
do live screen
Anyway,
changes.
I actually think the NFL has a little something to do with this because the NFL allowed for team celebrations a few years ago, and
Yeah.
all of them had a lot of fun celebrating touchdowns, like especially when the defense scores a touchdown. That's actually amazing because
Those are all great.
phenomenal.
Those are all great. I like when they're in the boat together.
Yes, the boat.
Those are my
I don't
favorite.
know.
So
Or
the
just
NHL mascots have been doing that too.
Mhm.
Like a few years ago, they really kind of blew up. And actually, in Montreal, we took our poor defunct baseball mascot. Now he's our hockey mascot too. So he just travels.
We don't
he
have
goes
a
to
baseball
all.
team anymore.
No, we don't. That's why I said defunct baseball team.
What do you guys even?
I miss the Expos.
What do you guys even do with the
Yeah.
Olympic Stadium?
It's
You
just
guys go in
there.
there
It's
still?
just there, right?
It's still there. It's not falling down because that was a
Good.
thing for a while.
It's good.
It's a large
Sometimes
building.
really bad
I'm-
weather, they'll play the soccer games in there.
Oh.
Okay.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Like if it's
Has, like-
really dangerous to be outside, it's
hasn't-
like we
it
can do
hasn't
it indoors.
Gone like it hasn't gone dystopian and like the Earth is claiming it again.
No. It's not like one of those like deserted malls of America thing, which I think are fascinating, by the way.
Well,
But
Montreal
no,
was,
it's still functional. They do still hold events and stuff there. So
and there
Someone owns
was
it.
a chance that they were going to get the Rays because there was that whole like
Yes.
timeshare thing that the Rays were going to do between Tampa and Montreal. Montreal. Oh yeah, no, that was a thing. Like
that would have been
so
fun.
Tampa
We
and
do miss a
Montreal was going to
baseball team
share the
here.
Rays.
Yeah, I think we lost our team when kind of baseball was like less popular overall, and soccer started becoming really big in Montreal at least. And yeah, we missed out. Though that last season with the Expos, I definitely went to almost every home game. It was fun.
And like the later days of the Expos, they were really good teams. And I feel
they won almost every home game in their last season.
I feel really bad. The 94 strike shortened season, like they had the best record in the majors. They definitely would have won the World Series that year had it not been for the strike.
Damn.
Papa Vlad.
Oh, yeah. That was
And
devastating.
Vladimir Guerrero, one of my all-time favorite baseball players.
Yeah, Vlad Senior. That was a team.
I mean, the guy
Andre
hit a
Dawson.
home run. The guy hit a home run after the ball like bounced before home plate. Like
He did. He did.
Holy crap.
Again, one of my all-time favorite baseball players.
Yeah, Vlad Senior was a beast.
By the way, there's a
But yeah, I think it would be fun if they keep. I like this little celebration thing after a home run. It's fun. It's
fun.
entertaining for the fans because I mean there can be a few dry spells watching a baseball game. So if they do something really big, let's make it big. You know.
It's really for TV only too because you can't really see it in the stadium. Now,
Yeah, but you have the
I mean, if you have the right
jumbotrons
view.
and whatever.
they do
Yeah.
have the jumbotron. They do have cameras and
you
and-
could
and
see
there
it.
and whatnot. Personally, I love
not
going
put one
to
in
see
there.
live baseball games. Like, there's nothing. Baseball is so much more exciting to see live in person. I think
It really is.
I
It's
agree.
not worth watching on TV. It's completely different when you watch it live.
Yeah.
so different.
Yeah.
Okay, so
And it's not boring when you're playing. It's very stressful.
I love baseball.
if you type in
It's like it looks like you're standing still, but you're like so
I love you,
tense
Mark.
'cause you're waiting to steal a base.
Everybody, they just let you steal now. If you just want to steal, you can just steal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
hey, they got rules now that
All right,
can help.
let's move on.
Well, okay, real quickly,
uh,
the number one Google search
Yeah, we're
for
gonna
mascots
do-
eating
'cause
people.
I need this one.
Hey, baby. Do you want a next topic?
It's so sexy.
It's so sexy.
I don't even remember
So
what show
as
that
I
was from.
understand my role on this show, today we need to talk about Disney Plus's new release of Secret Invasion. The
Yes.
first Marvel series in Phase 5. One of the most mysterious projects to take place in the MCU, Secret Invasion
So
will see
secret.
Fury. That's so secret. Played by Samuel L. Jackson, return to Earth to uncover a plot enacted by a group of rogue Skrulls, shape-shifting aliens that Fury and Captain Marvel assisted years ago during the events of Captain Marvel. Along with Jackson, Secret Invasion's cast includes Ben Mendelsohn, Talos, Kobe Smulders, Maria Hill, Don Cheadle, Rhodey Rhodes, and the premiere of Emilia Clarke in the MCU playing Talos' daughter Gia. So are you guys excited about this drop as I am? Are we
Yes.
annoyed about adding
No.
another plot flexing
Wait for
trope
it, Nat.
like shape-shifting to one that already has multiple dimensions and time travel?
Go ahead, Nat. Now you can go.
And now you can say how excited you are because I'm excited.
I'm excited. I don't have superhero fatigue for Marvel.
No.
I know that's something that they're saying now, but I don't. And what I'm really liking about them continuing and keep developing this universe, this multiverse, this story, is that the thing that really struck me is that now you have like several generations of people that are watching it, and you're watching it as a family, you're growing up with it. Whereas, so Star Wars, for instance, you have the people that like episode 4, 5, and 6, and then you have the people that like the rest of it. Those are not
Oh,
the
we
same
don't talk
people, and
about
they
those
will
people.
never get along.
We don't talk about those people that like the other ones.
What are your thoughts about the Filioniverse, Nat? I don't think we've ever talked about this.
About what?
The Filioniverse, the Mandalorian.
Oh, I
like
love it. I
really
love it.
recent,
I love
okay.
all of it.
All the
I
new
even
stuff?
liked The Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker. Okay, I went with some kids. I took kids to see it. We went with Kieran, okay? Katie's
I
son.
mean, that makes it
Yeah.
better.
And spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it, then what? Anyways, when all the rebels sort of start popping in, he literally jumped out of his seat and was like, yes! And like Judd Nelson fist pumped into the air.
That's amazing.
That joy is why they keep making these movies and why they're still successful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? If I was his age, there's nothing about this I wouldn't like, which is why I liked Star Wars in the first place.
Sure.
Jamie
How
and
can
I's
I hate
first
it?
COVID project was the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And so,
Yeah.
as it does, and probably with a lot of people, we started with one, and then I was like, but we got to see the next one. And, we got to see the next one. And, we got to see the next one. And like literally
You're
3 movies
invested
in,
now. You're
literally
invested.
3 movies in, and I keep making her see other ones, and she's enjoying them, and I'm just like, I guess we're gonna start from the beginning. And she's like,
Yeah.
I'm like, you want to start from the beginning? She's like, yeah. I'm like, okay. So I cooked dinner tonight and we watched Secret Invasion, and it was awesome. It was awesome. I maintain that, and I like everything that the MCU makes, but I maintain that the secret
Almost
agent
everything.
spy stuff is the best. And so, like, Captain America: Winter Soldier, one of my favorites. Just like what is it? Age of Ultron, one of my favorites. And so the stuff that has a little more cloak and dagger. And so think about it, right? And it's a little tropey now that anybody can be anybody, the way the scrolls shapeshift, but the way that they did this with the ability, the idea that a spy could literally look like someone else in a second was awesome. Awesome. It was so good. And Emilia Clarke was great. So I was really excited about her joining the MCU officially. So she plays, if we remember the events of Captain Marvel, she plays Talos's daughter on the spaceship. Now she's grown up. So she is now, in the universe.
So,
too.
all right. So, when in the timeline does this take place?
Right now.
Current.
Okay.
It's now. It's the most present one.
Well, current
It didn't
current
bounce- well,
MCU
yeah.
current MCU timeline. So 5 years from now, officially, but really right now in the
Yeah.
MCU.
Got it.
Honestly, you had me.
I,
At,
I will
most-
say this:
it's
Captain
the last
Marvel.
one in the timeline at the moment.
Captain Marvel was definitely one of my favorite movies.
I liked that one. Yeah.
So the fact that they're essentially continuing on with the Captain Marvel storyline, I love.
Well, and so the idea too now is that
You
Fury
okay?
promised the Skrulls that were on that spaceship that they would find them a planet. This is now 10 years
Continuing
later,
that story. Yep.
right? And they haven't yet. And so there is a faction of those Skrulls that are pissed off.
Right.
Honestly, you had me at Emilia
I'm very curious.
Clarke.
Do we know if Carol Danvers is going to make any kind of cameo in this?
I do not
Ooh.
know, and so because unfortunately they keep benching the Marvels, which I'm incredibly
do.
excited about the Marvels, but in part of the Marvels, Captain Fury is up in Saber, which is his little space station. And so I don't know if he goes back, but he has now, in the first episode, obviously, because it's a show about him, he has now returned from Saber, and he is doing things on Earth. And so maybe,
If they,
I don't,
they're keeping it
crossed.
very quiet. If
I
she
don't
is,
know. The thing that's interesting about the MCU is they do a lot of, for us in the gaming world, they do a lot of balancing. And so in some movies, they just won't add the super powerful characters. Like in a lot of the Avengers movies, Thor and Hulk are just gone. Because if Thor and Hulk were in Civil War,
it'd
everyone
be
would
way
be dead,
easier. Yeah.
That's true.
right?
Yeah.
They couldn't add them.
That is that a
This
true
just not
fact.
fair.
That is a truth fact.
Yep.
When so, in
The
some
only-
respects, in
That is a
the
true
real
fact.
world, yes, in the real world, I mean, come on, that probably would not be a real thing, but for the sake of the movie, you gotta keep it. I don't know.
And so Feige is very excited about this project, and he has stated that it will have the most cameos of any project that they've ever done.
Really?
So
Yep,
there you go.
so
Maybe Carol
here's
Danvers will
hoping.
be in there.
So the first episode came out today, right?
Yeah, today, and it was very good. Very,
I haven't
very
seen
cool.
it. I haven't seen it yet, but I will.
Yeah, it was fast too. Like those
Yeah?
things, and you can tell when they go to scene. And I say it now. I'm like, end scene. Something terrible happens. Yep. Okay, next week.
So how long are the episodes? Are they like 30
they're
minutes?
probably normal hour-long
Like hour.
dramas.
Hour long. Okay.
Okay, it was an hour. Let me look.
I just rebuilt my
I don't
subwoofer
even
that like
remember because I was
It's not that
literally
important.
yeah
literally. Well, I am very curious. I was watching
I'm watching it
intently.
anyways.
right.
Exactly. I'm gonna watch it. I'm looking forward to the next thing of Loki as well.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
still
Season 1 of that
have
was
no
really
idea
good.
what they're doing.
So I just
that was my favorite streaming on Disney Plus.
Loki.
it was
Was Loki.
That was
I
the
know.
only
I know
one-
you liked the one with shoot.
oh WandaVision.
WandaVision
Why can't I
was
think
the
of
My
best thing
favorite
that
was
they did.
Falcon. Falcon and the Winter
WandaVision.
Soldier.
Okay.
You liked really?
I
That
loved
was my
it.
least favorite.
Oh no.
That was my
I-
least favorite.
Is that it brought us back to like the aftermath. Like it's kind of they
I
don't
didn't-
talk about it a lot in Marvel.
Yeah.
It's like these people
I mean-
didn't have a salary, and
Yeah.
there's politicians involved now that the world is saved, and marketing, and it just made everything so much more like in our world and so much more realistic that it was a lot of heart that one, and that
I don't
really
know. I felt like
emotional for me.
I felt like they could have done a little better. Like I don't think either of those characters though can really carry a series. Like
Oh, I
they're
think Cap can.
well, Cap can. Oh, well, all right, yeah, but
No, Anthony Mackie.
Mm,
He's gonna do it.
Did you know Sebastian Stan and Anthony Mackie?
He definitely
hate each other in real
has.
life?
Anthony Mackie definitely
It
has
kinda shows
charisma
on the
up there.
screen.
Yeah.
like they did not have a lot of chemistry in that series.
Really?
They did not.
I
I still have yet to watch that one.
at the end of that, I'm just really
Hey Pete, I think you're
I'm
muted.
like, if
man,
they
you're trying
don't
to
clean up the whole like baby Agent Carter thing, I'm gonna be livid.
Oh my gosh, I was muted that entire time.
talk. I was like, Pete's
Were you trying to
been
talk?
I've been
Okay.
saying all this
He's been
stuff and
awfully quiet.
no one's responding.
I literally just happened to see your lips move.
That's funny. That's
Ugh.
funny.
I'm sorry, Pete.
It's okay.
That's a great.
What
time
were you
to
gonna
move on to
say?
the
Actually,
next
the
topic, right?
only Marvel, like the only MCU thing that I didn't like recently is is it Werewolf or whatever?
Oh, you shut your mouth.
Wait,
That was great.
which one was this?
I'm like
Werewolf by
What?
Night.
Werewolf
I
by
didn't
Night.
see
I'm
that.
like, I beg your pardon. What's happening?
Wait, was this a Marvel thing or just a
It
Disney?
was
Yes.
a MCU mini, MCU
It's a movie.
limited release. It's a movie. It's like an hour and a half, and
Yeah,
it's
full movie.
about. I mean, they have Elsa Bloodstone, who is.
What is it about?
Um,
It's kind of like a supernatural Hunger Games, maybe, but not.
no, it's about Elsa Bloodstone and her family, and
Huh.
I
Is
mean,
it?
yeah, it is.
Well,
Like, come on.
Okay.
We have a
it was pretty
badass
weak.
chick vampire hunter. How can we
Even
go
some of
wrong with badass
act-
chick
Dude,
vampire
we-
hunter?
It was like
we had that with Buffy though.
you're
How
good
do you
in
top
other
that?
things.
I mean,
Okay.
with modern storytelling
Okay, fine.
and not Monster of the Week.
Okay, in Morbius
Hey,
was
the Monster of
awful.
the Week was fun.
Morbius
awful,
was awful.
Morbius doesn't.
Is that
count.
even on
It's-
Disney Plus?
It's on
It's
Netflix.
not canon.
No. Oh,
No,
okay.
it's Sony. It's Sonyverse.
It's
canon.
Morbin
I don't even have
Size.
Netflix, John.
Sonyverse is the
It-
worst of the verses.
But I also don't want to see it because I don't like anything that Jared Leto does.
Yeah,
No, it was
so
bad.
back to cults from the beginning of the show.
It all comes back.
Like
right.
I was so
Circle.
looking forward to Morbius, and then they announced that Jared Leto was going to be Morbius. Like I'm going to hate this, and I
And
never
it was
saw
also
it.
very
It
bad. And it
still
was
get
also very
work.
bad.
I never saw it.
They're doing Kraven the Hunter in the Sonyverse. That's gonna be bad. Kraven the Hunter is apparently a businessman. They're gonna do Madam Web, who is apparently the
Isn't-
girl from 50 Shades. That's gonna be terrible. It's just
Isn't
not worth
Raven
watching.
Hunter what's his face? Who's already in
I don't know.
this like it's the same actor. They're recycling an actor.
Oh, I have to look
Kraven
this
the
up now.
Hunter is
Technically, they
Aaron
did that with
Taylor
Chris Evans. Do you
Johnson.
remember Fantastic Four? He was the Flame On guy before he was Captain America.
Aaron Taylor Johnson, very handsome, but you know,
What is he?
still the
been in?
Sonyverse.
Hmm.
Bullet Train, Kick Ass. He's a Kick Ass kid.
Oh yeah, okay.
okay.
I remember him.
He got hot though.
He was wasn't he Quicksilver? His Wanda's
No.
twin.
I don't know.
He was not.
He does look like
Yes,
that.
he was.
It does look like that
Was he?
guy though.
Yes, it is.
It is the same guy.
Oh.
Maybe.
Not the one from X-Men, but the one from
I know you're saying.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
one from
yeah,
X-Men.
I know
Wanda's
what you
MCU
mean.
twin. Well, he.
Yeah.
Did you know that what's his face? The producer of Avengers: Age of Ultron asked to kill Quicksilver, and they didn't think they'd let him, and then they were like, "Yeah, sure, you can kill him, whatever." And they're like, "Ah, cool."
Oh man.
Anyway, we need to move on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. What I was going to say before I realized my mic was
over.
muted for like 10 minutes was you had me at Amelia Clark for this new series.
Man, she's so good.
She's good.
She's awesome.
All right. Who's got next topic?
Oh, I have a next topic. Right here.
So it was reported earlier this week. By the way, I almost forgot to do a non-sports topic for this week. Anyway, this week that a submersible, which is an underwater vessel capable of diving multiple miles deep into the ocean, got lost at sea with a group that was attempting to look at the wreckage for the Titanic. Now, the Titan, which was what it was called, leaves out of Newfoundland and costs about $250,000 for an 8-day trip to the bottom of the Atlantic. Now, it is not clear what happened as contact was lost after less than 2 hours from the initial launch. It was reported today that, quote, underwater noises in the search area were detected, but nothing has turned up yet. So, everyone, what do we think went wrong with the missing submersible? And would we pay $250,000 to explore the deep water?
So I heard.
First, I want to say that one of these billionaires posted on his Instagram before they left that they're going in a very tight weather window.
Uh-oh.
And that he was concerned about it, but they're going anyways. So they knew they were going down into danger.
Yep.
And also,
yeah.
it like you're stomping on people's graves, and I know it was only the poor people that got left behind, but leave them alone. It's their grave. What's
Matt,
wrong
best.
with people?
I don't know.
People
And
have
didn't
messed
they
up.
pull something up on one of their little trips down too, which is grave robbing? You horrible. And okay, granted, there are lives lost, but
They
No, I think
Yeah.
I think you
I
should
know.
continue
Darwin.
to rant.
Darn.
Yeah, I'll go. Keep continuing. This is great television.
This is exactly.
I love it. So they
Darwinism.
as an aside, they actually did have some submersibles go down there with trying to honor the Titanic and did a ridiculously detailed 3D scan of the thing. If you really want to see the wreckage, you can now.
Not this company, though.
No, not this
Yeah,
company.
James Cameron did that
And
in the 90s.
yeah, and recently they did like a ridiculous one too.
Yeah,
And
but
it's
that's
coming out.
research related.
Yes, it is research.
This is just
They-
asshats going
Right,
down
this-
in dangerous conditions.
Asshats. That's a great term.
These are the
for
kind of
it,
people
asshats.
that grab like ivory tusk trophies, right? From hunting endangered
$250,000.
species. Jeez.
So I read today that
That's
they
nuts.
used Logitech hardware as their control console.
An Xbox
So
controller.
literally-
Logitech.
Yeah, they literally got a gaming controller and it runs the thing.
Okay,
and
so-
I think that's so fucking short-sighted and stupid,
Look.
and it hurts my head.
Look, the Ghostbusters did it with an NES Max or NES Advantage controller in Ghostbusters 2 to control the Statue of Liberty.
Dude, that reference,
clearly.
that reference kicks so much ass. Pete.
You know what?
You're the best.
Let's cut it. Let's quit while we're ahead with the old Nintendo controllers controlling very expensive equipment.
That's funny.
I think it's more just the ocean is pretty unforgiving and dangerous under good circumstances.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's anytime you've seen the movie, you send somebody to space, you send somebody to the bottom of the ocean, what's going to happen? Bad things every time.
Can we just talk about the abyss for a second? I want to meet water aliens.
I was thinking the book Sphere, which was another creepy one with
Well,
underwater. But
the book
yes,
Spear was essentially the abyss written by Michael Crichton. So
It
that's
was-
fine.
Yes,
I was
it was, yeah.
thinking one of the popular theories on social media is it's that gang of orcas that are going around attacking luxury yachts.
yes, specifically
That might have
luxury
got rid of
yachts,
them?
which I love it.
A gang of orcas.
Yes.
So this
A gang of
female
orcas?
orca
It's true.
got injured,
Were they from a tough part
and
of
then
town?
she started attacking yachts, and then now
Shamu
she has
kept
a whole
attacking it.
gang of people attacking yachts. So there's a theory that's like, well, maybe the orcas just take care of these idiots.
Karma's a
Maybe.
bitch.
You know, just
I-
random OCD brain too. I always used to like saying Mary Elizabeth Moscar Antonio from The Abyss.
Oh my god, that's the most random thing I've ever heard in my entire
Fantastic.
life.
I used to be like,
Mary
I just
Elizabeth Master Antonio. That's
I
nice.
just remembered her name because it was so long.
You know, I used to confuse for whatever reason Mary Elizabeth Master Antonio versus Mary Steenburgen. I don't know why.
They look alike.
They
That is a good
kind of look
confusion.
alike.
Yes.
They kind of look alike.
Yeah.
And they're both Marys.
There's definitely
They
a
are
theme
both
here, though.
Marys.
It's also like the number of people that try to climb Mount Everest, and coincidentally, there are a lot of dead, frozen corpses on Mount Everest as a result of that. Like people,
Did you see the guy
people just
this
don't
past month
This got dark.
who got rescued? This adventurer mountaineer got rescued by another group of Everest adventurers, and they wanted some recognition on their social media, but because they would hurt his business, he didn't even mention it. He's actually countersuing them for saving his life.
Oh my god! How dare you?
Jeez.
People need to just get better hobbies.
Yeah.
Find their inner joy.
Yeah.
Touch the grass, okay? Like
Be
go
better at
outside
climbing
and touch
mountains.
grass.
Right.
Get your own Sherpas.
Explore where human life is sustainable.
So I will say this: the idea of being able to go miles down into the ocean intrigues me so much. Like
There's
just
so much we don't know about
There's
it.
so much we don't know about the ocean. I would love to be able to do that. Would I spend $250,000? No.
Would you spend
Even if
it
I had
you had
all
it?
the
Well,
money in the world.
I mean, if
even
you were a
no,
billionaire.
I'm sorry. Even if I had all the money in the world, no. I
And
might as well just build my own submersible. Come on.
I mean, what? If you had all the money in the world, why not?
Exactly.
Also, there's a billionaire in Australia that's rebuilding the Titanic, and they want it to do its first voyage is supposed to be the original voyage. I'm like, the fuck I'm going on that cursed ghost
nope.
ship?
Is it gonna also hit a
That is a
glacier
whole lot of nope.
or iceberg?
Did you know Pete has
Well,
a game with
The icebergs
with
are
some of the mapping
melting.
to explore the
It's
Titanic?
causing a lot of issues.
Yeah.
I guess.
That game ever come out, Pete?
So actually, funny story. They have more than half the ship made. So they actually ran into a bunch of trouble where like their team, like there was drama, all this stuff, and then people left and people were nefariously doing it like for different reasons. But they're back on track. They have more than half the ship modeled to like down to the rivets. Like they literally built
so
the
cool.
interior superstructure of the hull. And
You're just messing with something if you do that.
well, but they're doing it with all
In a
like
video
tons
game.
of this is digitally. They're
okay.
no, and they're all
Yeah, this is
Titanic.
not real.
Yeah, no, this isn't real.
Oh no, 'cause there's supposed to be a real Titanic. I'm like,
Okay,
don't
yeah,
do
that
it.
I'm not going anywhere
It's
near.
like Mission to Mars.
Yeah.
You know how it's gonna go.
Right, just
Seriously.
tempt fate. Just keep poking that hornet's nest. See how you end up.
All right, we're at time.
We have to move
Amazing.
on. We're almost at 2 hours here.
I loved that topic. That was fantastic.
I know. We could have done a whole episode on that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're almost at 2 hours.
We're almost at 2 hours.
Time flies.
It does.
It's a good thing. It's a good thing. A lot of it is nonsense.
You're just gonna cut out like 10 minutes chunks. Do
Yeah, it's fine.
we have a final topic?
It's
Gonna
the
do it?
final
Gonna do it?
topic. Okay, stop. You're gonna be demonetized. You know, like the two
like, no.
the two listeners that we have, we're gonna be demonetized.
We're fine. It's all good.
Final topic.
Okay.
Amazing. And just because this topic's getting old, I'm gonna get to it. And so over the past month, I learned of Ed Sheeran's legal trouble with the Marvin Gaye estate and the allegations of copyright infringement with "Let's Get It On" and its similarities with "Thinking Out Loud." Sheeran had already won a ruling over this issue, but it continues to pester him. The previous case was dismissed, saying that parts of "Let's Get It On" were too common for copyright protection. When this first came out, Sheeran publicly stated that he would quit music if he didn't win this frivolous lawsuit. So with other new artists like Olivia Rodrigo having to admit and pay Paramore for similarities between their music, what are our thoughts on copywriting in music, sampling, and the state of original music in general?
So it's not exactly black and white, right? Because there's definitely been sampling going on for a long time.
Oh yeah.
But it's when it comes to a certain point where it makes a lot of money, then all of a sudden there's lawsuits involved. Now, are there similarities between "Let's Get It On" and "Thinking Out Loud"? Yes. In fact, Ed Sheeran himself has even done a mashup between the two songs.
I mean, because they're thematically very similar.
Exactly. And we're at to the point now where, there's only so many chord progressions and choruses that you can do where you're going to start repeating them. Now, Do I think that Ed Sheeran legitimately ripped off Al Green? No.
It's not the first time he's been accused of this exact thing. There's usually like a song per album that he's gone to court over.
I mean, you can literally, and just using his Olivia Rodrigo as an example because she copied most of that album, but you can literally put Misery Business on top of what is her song? The one that it sounds like. I forgot.
Yeah, I can't think. I don't remember right now. But you're absolutely. So that's different. I think that's completely different.
I think it's Ed Sheeran's track record that also plays into this.
Mhm.
It's like, yes, sampling, of course, it always exists. But then there's also sampling where you purchase samples from artists, which he didn't do. And there's, there's lots of factors that go into it, but I feel like he's just another British ginger whinger.
So wait, so do you think he's actually guilty of kind of plagiarizing?
I don't really care. I think
Let's be honest.
I
There's
just
more
think
important
that
things to worry about.
It's the same thing when people had some words to say about his Game of Thrones guest cameo. Where he's like, I'm leaving Twitter. I'm never coming back.
He was
and now
way
he's like,
funnier in Red Notice, by the way, if you guys have seen Red Notice.
That's the one with the Rock and
I
Ryan
saw
Reynolds?
it. Was he in it? I
And
didn't
Gal Gadot.
remember
He's in
that.
the end.
But
Yeah, he was way funnier. He's like, do you know who I am?
Was he playing
he
himself?
does
I was
things
on
for
Game of
tantrums
Thrones.
when he gets criticized and just
Great
cut
impression.
out.
Thank you.
I will say though.
So Elvis Costello, and I just keep bringing her up, but Elvis Costello in the when Olivia Rodrigo was getting in trouble, he said it very clearly. He's like, we've all been sampling, and Elvis Costello hasn't been famous for a while. We've all been sampling for forever.
Yeah.
It's how it works.
The lead singer of
and-
Paramore talked.
I mean, there's sampling
to her.
and being identical.
Yeah.
But I think it's more his reaction that bothered me.
Well, Haley Williams
like,
got writing rights.
I'm going to quit music. I'm like, okay, Nepo baby, you can do whatever you want. It's not going to affect your family.
There's so many. There's been so many songs that have been put out now, and you've heard a lot of them. It's very hard to.
It is.
It's very hard to not repeat something.
Yeah. So there,
especially when most songs only have 3 chords anyway.
There are only so many chords that exist, and on top of that, and a smaller subset, there are only so many chords that, in the right order, sound very pleasing to the human ear.
Yes.
And a subset of that,
exactly.
There's a smaller subset.
Can't play a bunch of minor chords.
Right. A smaller subset of that are a couple chords that are easily repeatable and can work in a pop song structure that can get other people and listeners to sing along with. So
I have an interesting question for you,
there.
Pete, being the most musical of all of us. Being a musician, trying to write...
I'm totally offended by that.
Yeah, I think Mark's a better musician than me.
Trying to write original music, but hearing original music your whole life, how hard is it to keep that stuff out of your head?
It's impossible.
It's so hard. There was this one time when I was thinking up like this, I'm like, oh man, this is going to be this awesome rhythm guitar chord progression. And then I'm like, it's like, oh, damn it. That's just Oasis, like... song.
Yeah,
like,
seriously.
27.
There's no such thing as
such
thing as original music anymore because you've heard it from somewhere else.
And here's the funny part: if you think about that Oasis song that I accidentally ripped off in my head, that song is just ripping off Pachelbel's Canon, and so is about 100 other
true.
pop songs that are very popular. Because Pachelbel, man, if you were still alive today, a lot of people are using your chords, yo.
A lot of people.
Right, and I mean that's what happened. And I remembered "Good for You" and "Misery Business," same song. But Paramore got writing rights. Haley Williams got writing rights. They had a conversation.
They talked.
About it. She's on the album.
Haley was totally cool.
And
with it.
I don't really think, because of that thought, I don't think that Olivia Rodrigo was sitting in the shower writing "Good for You" and thinking of "Misery Business" on purpose to copy
Probably
it.
not.
I think it was just in her head because
in her head.
Maybe
because it's a good song. And I think that you guys are exactly right. I think original music isn't really original anymore. I mean,
it hasn't been for thousands of years. It's just we have short memories.
Heard so many so many songs on current pop radio that have samples of other songs. There's one that has Stan in it again, so Stan has gone full circle. I mean,
yes,
right. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I do agree there's a difference, right? When you're using a similar chord structure and then as opposed to like directly using the actual audio from another recording and just singing
It's totally
singing or
different.
rapping
It
your
is
own lyrics
different.
over it. Yeah.
And 20, 30 years down the road, everything is essentially going to be very similar to everything else. Like, especially in pop, because like you said, Pete, there's only certain chord progressions that are very pleasing to the ear.
Yeah.
So you're going to be repeating something.
Yeah. I will shout out to a few bands. Here's one that nobody thinks about for musical complexity is actually
Oh, please tell us.
Nirvana. Their chords are weird. They're very unconventional, or at least a lot of songs, like in ways you wouldn't think. A lot of music theorists would be like, "What the hell is that?" Honestly, a lot of those '90s grunge
You're right.
bands.
That's a 30-year-old reference, but you're right.
Hey, well, maybe we need to bring some of that back. I don't know.
I mean, Neil
Who
Young
knows?
did that because he kind of gets
You're very right
tracked
about
as,
that
like,
too.
the forefather of grunge, which wasn't his intention, but then
Yeah,
that's
right.
kind of where that came
Let's say
from.
Neil Young is a 40-year-old reference now. We're getting older.
But
Yeah.
you're right, though. Young did.
The Beatles.
Yeah.
The White Album was weird and groundbreaking.
Mhm.
You know, it's
Yeah.
so but it takes like not everybody's going to be like a Neil Young,
No.
a Kurt Cobain,
Right.
or a David Bowie. You know, like
Mhm.
that's
And that's not saying there probably won't
us.
be like somewhere down the road someone's going to think
Yeah.
of something different, but it's going to be very rare. Most are going to do the same 3-chord progression.
Right. And it also
Right?
takes
Yeah.
somebody like these giant megacorps like Our Heart Radio to actually take a chance on those things because they don't fit the easily monetizable like formula for a successful song, right?
Yeah.
They need to take a chance again.
I find
All right,
also
we-
with Ed Sheeran, like sometimes for me, it's like, yeah, his song is catchy, it'll hook and it's good. The lyrics are not. So
some of
are.
them I like.
I love thinking out
there's
loud.
quite a few of the songs that I don't like by him,
Hmm.
like lyrically, but the song sounds good and sounds catchy and
Hmm.
it has that earworm, and it's because, like you said, like
the earworm.
He's a good singer and
there's a
guitar player
certain
too.
progression that sounds pleasing.
Personally, I like Perfect better than Thinking Out Loud.
I'm kind of partial to Tenerife Sea because it was our wedding song. But we purposely picked an Ed Sheeran song that was not played on the radio.
By the way, I'm mad
Okay,
that
he
you
does
didn't have me
good
sing
ones,
Ed
but there are
Sheeran at your
some-
wedding.
Oh, sorry.
Some of his lyrics are like, that's creepy.
I'm not really mad.
You're a little mad.
Anyway, so that has been our 10 topics. We would like to thank our guests for joining us this week. Thank you, Nat.
Thanks, Nat.
Thank you.
Please follow or like us on our socials at If These Balls Pod on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Our website is www.iftheseballscouldtalkpod.com, where you can see our sports news of the day, our AI story hour, or you can talk to us through Discord. This is Mark Pesci, and for my partner John Companion and producer Pete Steffen, that's what we feel they would say if these balls could talk. Bye, everyone.
Have a good night, everybody.
Thanks for watching.
If these balls